Oh, is that my experiment? Oh, experiment 101, my podcasting creature. I see that you have a microphone ready.
Yappy.
Please begin the podcasting experiment.
Hello, welcome to Nothing New, a remake podcast. I am Experiment 101, and with me...
I'm Andrew Linde.
I'll go by the name Justin Quizon for this episode.
Okay, very good. And we have a special guest with us, returning after the Star Trek episode.
Yes.
Steph,
hello.
how you doing?
Aloha.
Aloha. That was so amazing.
I feel like I could have done that a little. Personally, I'm like, I could have worked on my Stitch a little more.
Yeah, come on, buddy. You had all weekend to practice.
Yeah, I know.
I thought you were going to do Jumba. So when you didn't do Jumba, I was like, well, I got to do Jumba.
You have to do Jumba.
The like alien Russian accent.
Oh, goodness. Oh, yes. Okay. So clearly we will be talking today about a little blue furry alien who crash lands on Hawaii and befriends a little girl. And in the long line of many other movies in which a child befriends a creature of some other planet, they form a bond and a friendship and are chased by other people. We are, of course, talking about Lilo and Stitch, 2002.
And Lilo and Stitch from 2025.
Before we get into like the meat of it and etc. Like just a little like Andrew, we've been doing this show for a while.
Yeah.
And the Disney live action trajectory has been quite a journey. But I want to point something out. We've done so many, so many of the 90s films have been remade, so many of the classic era films remade. This is an interesting one because we are hitting the 2000s now.
Yes.
This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing now. And more, and just as I'm saying all this, they're already in post on another one that didn't even come out that long from this, like this, barely 10 years.
Yeah.
It'll be barely 10 years since that one came out. This one, the minimum is like at least like over 20 years.
Yes.
So that's a little okay, I guess, but just weird. It's like we're hitting that period.
Are you tired? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm so tired.
Steph, what are your thoughts on all these live action Disney remakes?
I mean, it's hard to say. I have mixed feelings for a reason. And I think it's situational for me. Like, we'll get into the Lilo and Stitch bit. For the most part, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, yeah, a live action remake might be good if they make it better. But the films that they're remaking are not the ones that need remaking. Like, where's my like heavy fantasy live action? Like, where's my okay. Sorry, I'm going to struggle here a little bit because I also have come to the realization I've seen like no Disney films.
Oh, wow.
Except for this one.
Except for this one, which I'll get into in a bit, but I really don't have a lot of context for this. But for the most part, it's like general remakes overall. It's like it's too soon for the ones they're remaking, but there are other ones that I would love to see get remakes that deserve it, and it's been more than enough time. Yeah. So it's like I'm conflicted because I would love to see remakes for certain projects, but the ones they're doing now are big now. Now it's too soon.
Well, and it's to give a little preview for maybe something coming up later in the year, it's not even just Disney anymore.
Yeah.
It's every studio has gotten in on what's our IP? What can we do a live action version of some animated thing we did that people loved, and we can just keep.
Video games are doing it too. Video games are just like, oh, it's been like 5 years since this game got remade. Let's do it again. It's like, okay, we're done.
No, and I guess to kind of put the little like, yes, we are covering it flag up. The guys who directed this animated film, it's wild to me that literally the other one they did together, its remake is literally the same year, within months. It's wild. I can't believe they're both coming out the exact same year. But I almost think that's obviously intentional.
Yeah, and to just call it out, we're talking about How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, we're talking about How to Train Your Dragon
from the same directors as Lilo and Stitch, and it's also about a young person who is missing a parent figure and connects with something that's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, what's going on here?
Now, I'll hold my thoughts on How to Train Your Dragon, the original animated film, until we get to that episode. But yes, it's wild that both films directed by the same guys are both coming out with live action reinterpretations in the same year. It's very strange, but
They were showing trailers for it too during the movie, so it's like it timed perfectly.
Oh yeah, they're almost kind of like
in their world.
Yes, 100%. Steph, actually, like going straight into your experience with Lilo and Stitch, I actually do recall you kind of maybe even brought this up while we were recording Star Trek. That you kind of put your flag in and went FYI. What is it? When did you first see it, and what was your like how why did that movie affect you so much?
Yeah. So I never had a lot of experience with Disney growing up because Disney, for the most part, in the household I grew up in, was evil. Magic was evil, all this type of stuff. It was like a religious sort of household where like Disney was evil, but for the wrong reasons. Like the talking trees in Pocahontas, for example, were deemed evil, and I was like, okay, but I could watch Lord of the Rings, There's
a whole army of them in there.
So Tolkien wasn't evil, but Talking Trees and Pocahontas was, because
to be fair,
cultures.
To be that nerd for just one moment, the talking tree in Pocahontas is kind of a ghost. That is that I could see that being interpreted as evil. A ghost can be evil.
But it's supposed to be like but it's supposed to be like your elders. Yeah. It wasn't evil for those reasons. No. For being a ghost, it was evil because it showed another culture with different belief systems.
Okay, yeah. That's the way it's going.
Yeah.
Ours.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
So I didn't grow up. Yeah, and I didn't grow up watching television either. Like I watched specific films that were allowed. It was very controlled, and I also didn't grow up with the radio, so I didn't know a lot of Disney. Like I did watch some of the very common, like The Lion King and Aladdin, oddly enough. I was allowed like very specific Disney films, but they weren't a whole lot. So I had no context for Disney until this movie came along, and I didn't even watch it at home. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I'm going to age myself a little bit, but I was like 11 when I saw Lilo and Stitch. And it was at someone's house. And going into it more, this movie broke me. Because I grew up in a very like discombobulated household as well, obviously, with very much a broken family. So when I saw Lilo and Stitch for the first time, and Stitch crash landed on that planet and was just a fucking monster that no one understood, because as we know, he shows up in the film and he just causes death and destruction, and it's a lot of like everyone being like, why are you so bad, why are you so bad? And the same for Lilo. And as a kid, I was going through the exact same stuff. I was being told I was bad all the time. I was acting out. I wasn't getting along. My life was very broken. And I saw myself as Stitch for the longest time. I was like, I'm the alien no one understands. I'm the alien who just like cackles wildly. I do laugh that way, by the way. Anytime. And then on top of that, like I was just always getting in trouble and always struggling to connect with people. 100%. Like I didn't have a lot of friends at school. I wasn't getting along well with other people. I was just very isolated. And so when I saw this movie, I was like, oh, I just need to find my person. and sometimes broken isn't bad, and you can find your own family. Like the whole found family bit in Lilo and Stitch is my jam.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much what I exist my life on. So that entire sequence in the film where Stitch is just like going on about family, and he's in the woods and he's just like, I'm lost. I just remember bawling my eyes out as a kid, because I was like, for the first time, I was like, someone gets it. Someone gets me. That's me right now. And then they come around and they like support him and they get along, and then they adopt him, and it becomes this like found family that's not perfect, but it's still functioning. And to me, that was like everything I ever wanted as a child. So I was like, well, this is it. This is the perfect Disney film of all time. And no other questions, please and thank you. And it was highly quotable too. I was like constantly quoting this film. For many reasons that I'll get even more into the more we discuss. But that was like my first foray into like Disney. And like, I'm, again, not a big Disney person still, because the movies just aren't for me for the most part. But this one in particular, I was like, you got sci-fi, which is what I love. Obviously, I'm a big Trekkie. Yeah. You have aliens, you have family, you have found family. And then you have people who are very broken and act out, but they're still accepted for who they are. I was like, no notes.
Have you? I'm curious now, Steph. Have you watched like the other Disney movies of this kind of era, like Emperor's New Groove, Treasure Planet? Yes, okay. Yeah.
Yes, I did like those. I find I like the weird ones, like Treasure Planet. I absolutely loved. I don't understand how it was not more popular. But also it was very sci-fi coded. So there's that. Emperor's New Groove is just one giant like quotable film.
Yeah.
So that worked. But I looked at a couple lists recently for Disney films, and I realized like I have not seen most of them.
What I think is
most of them.
Interesting, what you're kind of touching on here, what you connected with, is I think at this era in Disney films, they were focusing on like misfits.
Yeah.
It was not about princesses anymore. It was about misfits, and it was about science, and it was about weirdos who got together or were working on something together. Like it really was a time of found family for these Disney films of that time. And it was, I mean, I liked it a lot, but I think that's why people thought Disney of that. People don't always like that era. They're so focused on, it's not a real Disney film because there's not a princess and it's not a fairy tale.
Yeah.
And it's because they were breaking out of that. The stories were so much more interesting.
Yeah.
I agree. I find they were just doing so much more for the modern family and the modern child, because it's like at that age, it's like we're all interested in sci-fi, spaceships, aliens, this, that, like, but we have our own interests. And it was very much it was definitely for a specific audience. And I understand that it was not for everyone, but at the same time, I was like, it spoke to enough people that I understand why it's so popular. And I don't think they realized how popular Lilo and Stitch was until it exploded internationally. Because I noticed that like North America, like a lot of people haven't seen Lilo and Stitch, but when I would travel to say like more, when I went to Japan or I went to Korea, I'm like, there's Lilo and Stitch stuff everywhere there.
Yeah, that totally
They
makes
are
sense.
Obsessed with Stitch. And I'm like, it makes sense. It's like more the misfits in that North American culture. They didn't make the movies for, the kids at home who just want to be princesses who have the best lives. It's like Lilo and Stitch was made for the broken family who doesn't have everything together.
And I do think, it's set in Hawaii, so it has, a Asian representation in the original film.
Yeah.
I think that is part of the appeal there too.
Yes. And this is my favorite part about the original films too. It was very anti-colonizer.
Yeah.
It was just constantly making fun of the tourist situation in Hawaii,
right?
Which is perfect. I've never been to Hawaii, so I can't speak for it myself. but from my understanding, the people who are like Filipino and who've seen those movies tend to like love the part that like they're just making fun of the tourists and that's what the life is there like. And it's very much focuses on the locals of Hawaii as opposed to like, the random colonizers who show up to have a good vacation and leave everything a giant mess.
It's an interesting situation because it's like I've been to Hawaii a couple times and I love going, but I do recall like very eye-opening time for me was last time I went was in 2017 with my family, and we did the whole usual luau whatever, and as during our like the big luau we were at, I just had to go to the restroom, so I walked over to the hotel where the luau was at, and then I started just paying attention to the locals who work there and like really listen to them as I was walking in. And it's just like, it kind of, nothing was groundbreaking, like but it was very much like, oh yeah, they all have to kind of put up a front to a degree because that's what they're paid to do. But when everyone's just focusing on whatever's happening on stage and the buffet, the people here who are just like selling, shirts or trinkets or wood carvings, everything, they were being so real to each other. And I started feeling a little bit like, oh, this is the real them as I was walking by. So whenever, and of course my brain went straight to Lilo and Stitch of like, yeah, that's who they are. One of our, good friends of ours who of course, Nathan, he is part Hawaiian. And I used to learn a lot about like real, like a legitimate, like what the Hawaiians did and how they talk to each other. And like I learned a lot from him about like, oh, they deal with that stuff and they get it. And it's also part of their economy. So they aren't really like hateful on it, but they have to put up a thing with everyone else.
Yeah.
And they are aware of it. Like I actually very, very distinctively, we had like a lovely like host. She was like the woman who kind of ran the whole show, and she was a great host, whatever. But as we were leaving at the end, I saw her and I saw her just walk to her car, and she looked like my aunt. She just like she just turned it off, and she looked like just like, oh, that's my tita walking home from work. And so I'm aware of there's this whole like this whole other thing that they have to deal with while just trying to be living on Hawaii, in Hawaii, so it's it's interesting.
And that's another reason why I like the Lilo and Stitch movie was because it wasn't afraid to stay away from those problems. It's like, it's like, here's Nani trying to get a job and it's all like touristy terrible jobs, but that's all that's there on the islands because that's all that's really around there for. And at the same time, it's like you have the main issue of you're already feeling like an outlier on an island of misfits. And what do you do to survive?
Yeah. Andrew.
Because your options are limited because it's an island.
Yeah, exactly. Andrew, what were your kind of initial thoughts and how did you get around watching it?
So this is, I don't remember all the details because I was so young, but the way that I first saw Lilo and Stitch was, I think it was marketed as before everyone else. My sister had won a radio contest.
Okay.
So we saw like, I don't know if it was opening day or if it was like Thursday. It was like the earliest, and it was like in the morning. I remember it was like 8 a.m. or something. We went to a movie theater and it was, full of other kids and people who'd won the contest. And we saw Lilo and Stitch just before anyone else could. And I was like, wow. I remember having that thought of like, I can't believe I saw like a movie before everyone else. Like, wow, I saw this so early.
Way to brag, Andrew.
I know it was, and it's one of those movies where I don't remember it having a huge impact on me like you, Steph, but it was something that like the lead up to the movie was so exciting to me. The way that they marketed Lilo and Stitch was so cool for someone who loves Disney, because they had Stitch breaking into famous scenes from other animated films. And so it was like he showed up at the Beauty and the Beast dancing in the ballroom scene. he was like on the ceiling crawling around. He stole Jasmine away from Aladdin on the magic carpet, like in his space cruiser. Like it was, there was like crazy stuff like that. And that was like one of the posters is Stitch, like in a white empty background, and all the other Disney characters are looking at him, and it's like, yep, our newest guy's here.
No, like the big joke. I'm actually looking at the poster
right
now.
Yeah.
The big joke of the marketing campaign is like the redheaded stepchild of Disney animated characters, and he's coming to your theater real soon.
It's like even the marketing was like, he's an outlier. Get ready for him. He's a chaos bunny.
Before we even knew of the term, he 100% is a chaos bunny.
So
but I think that's what made him so endearing was that sort of level marketing. Like even before you saw the film, you're like, oh, I love him.
Yeah.
Well, and it was very much like, oh, what's he gonna do? Like it just seemed like, oh my goodness, they're bringing all the classic Disney animated characters into this. Like he's gonna be a big deal. And I think maybe at first it was a little slow, but eventually, I mean, he got 3 like TV movies or spin-off movies and several TV shows. Like he became a massive. And then, as you said, Steph, in overseas at other parks, they sell exclusive Stitch merch that you'll never see here. So it's very much like he did become a big deal. They kind of called it.
Yeah. No.
Yep.
Mine's kind of basically very similar to yours, Andrew. I just remember them, except for the whole watching it early thing. Fine. No, for me,
you saw like a normal person.
I saw a normal person. I saw it. Actually, I even saw it on at home video. I didn't even see it in theaters. Not like
Same. I actually didn't see it in theaters either.
Okay. I did. It's not like I didn't want to. It's just like it just that's one of those that just ended up not happening. But I remember the marketing campaign. I thought it was freaking brilliant. I thought, oh, that's perfect. That's what a great way to get my interest into this movie, because like just even seeing Beauty and the Beast, and all of a sudden the camera zooms in on the ceiling, and then you see a blue thing crawling, and immediately going, what's happening? It's one thing to go like, oh, it's like, oh, a scene for me to be, and it's perfectly animated to look just like the original film, if not the actual clip for the original film, and then it zooms in on the ceiling, and you're like, what the hell's happening right now? What is that? And he just ruins the whole thing. And I remember the campaign was like every time he cuts after he runs amok, you hear one of the characters go, "Get your own movie."
I will say this, like I didn't get to see any of the marketing because again of like my situation of like not watching TV, and like I was maybe homeschooled and then went to like a private school after that. So I didn't have a lot of I didn't watch TV at the end of the day. Like so I didn't have much like pop culture around me. So I didn't get to see this marketing campaign till after. And to this day, I still think it's one of the most genius marketing things ever for a film and for a character. It's like you could not, you're playing on the nostalgia factor, you're playing on the new stuff, but you're still honoring the previous films. And at the same time, it's like, it's really pushing for you to, and already you get a whole sense of everything with just those little scenes.
100%. 100%. Now, I will admit something, again, it gets to show my age, sadly. I was a senior in high school. So one thing I will admit to that is, like, even though I watched it and I did like the movie, I was that kind of already developed. Like, my film snobbery was starting to turn on. So immediately I'm like, yeah, but is this as good as E.T. or Iron Giant? I don't know.
Okay, this is where I will argue you.
But like I was
saw
like
Iron Giant.
I was 18
and I felt nothing.
I was 8 out. First up, that hurts me right now because I still love that movie. But it's unfair. It's one of those things in hindsight to me to even do that comparison. But it was easy to do that comparison because it was a very popular. That's a popular semi subgenre of child connects with creature. Adventure ensues. E.T. did kind of like popularize that, and then you go from like, whether like either it's creatures or it's real animals like Free Willy, or the often forgotten The Great Panda Adventure, or Iron Giant, or this film. And even like like as we'll be covering very soon, How to Train Your Dragon. It is a weird subgenre, but instead of treating each one like, oh, it's a ripoff of the previous thing, one thing I have grown to appreciate is like, no, but every film kind of does explore the themes differently. Mm-hmm. And they do have different things that they kind of give to each story and each iteration. The funny thing is, like, Lilo Stitch and Iron Giant sort of share similar DNA in the factor that they're both considered to be dangerous things. And can be considered a threat to the planet, if unleashed. But the great thing about both movies is they both explore different ways of pointing out that you're more than what you're programmed that you think to be, or you're more than what you are. Your upbringing is essentially, if Stitch and Iron Giant were built to be destructive things, their touch of just a personal relationship that gives them something to care for and love shows that you cannot, you can deprogram yourself and be something that's more than that. And they do it very differently, extremely differently. And so I don't really compare the two in that case. If anything, I would do a double feature of those two and kind of go like, look at the two sides of a very similar story, of a story that seems similar to each other, but shows two very distinctive ways of doing it, But I got around on Stitch, FYI. I eventually kind of realized that, like, oh, no, this is its own thing, and I love it. So
that's good, because if you just said you didn't like him, I'd just stick Stitch on you, and then you'd quickly change your mind.
Get off my like.
So okay, we've talked around it. Let's get into the meat of the movie, the original film. I think for me, I like one of the things that they do is it starts in space. It starts with the space story. That's where we start. We meet Jumba. Jumba is, I think, he's an interesting type of character because he very much self-identifies as an evil genius.
Yeah.
And I don't
but
know.
But he's 100% not. He's
I don't know.
Right away, just from his like persona, and he's standing there and he's all like adorable and cute and ashamed, and he's like, "I'm just an evil genius. I'm so sorry." And you're like, "Oh, this dude is like my next door neighbor who thinks he's an evil genius." It's the what's his name with the yellow people? The minion effect.
Oh, Gru.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Gru effect where he's like, yeah, I'm just an evil genius. And it's like, are you? But are you, though?
And it's David Ogden Stiers doing kind of a Russian accent, but not really.
Yeah. And of course, David Ogden Stiers was it Cogsworth?
Yeah.
He was Cogsworth in Beauty and the Beast. So welcome back.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I think that's the only place we know him from. Well,
yeah. But still, it's like he's we have covered Beauty and the Beast. So
yes. And so I like the choice of the Russian accent because
As a Russian, I'm a little insulted, but okay. I'm kidding. It works perfectly.
I think it is like that shorthand of like I'm an evil scientist. I've got a Russian accent. I think that's what they're. Where they're going.
That's cartoon logic.
European accent.
Yeah.
That's cartoon voice logic. It's like Optimus Prime sounds like John Wayne because why not make the robot hero sound like a cowboy?
Embarrassingly so, I didn't realize it was supposed to be a Russian accent until way later in life because I grew up I have a Russian mother, so I was like, that's not Russian accent. What the fuck is that? And people were like, yeah, Jumbo with his Russian accent. I was like, excuse me? What was coming out of his mouth was the opposite of what I grew up with.
That's really funny. But it's he's kind of defending himself to the Galactic Federation. And
including the councilwoman.
Yes. The councilwoman's
that I have
great.
Very many thoughts on as a child and now an adult.
And
she carries a presence, when she walks in, because this is her intro. I'm sorry, we have to talk about her. This is her intro. She comes in and she's got like a cape and this amazing outfit, and you just like feel her presence in the film. And she comes in and she's immediately just like, read the charges. You're just like, yes, that is a leader. That is someone I want to be and potentially marry.
And she's fair to Stitch at first. She gives him the chance. She says
she was fair the whole time.
Well, yeah, I guess the whole time, but it's definitely
once the sentencing was done, she was like, "We're done." Like, obviously, for many reasons. Sorry, Andrew. I'm going to argue. I'm very much I have many opinions, and many of them are correct.
You're coming in hotter here than you were on Star Trek 2.
I know.
Which I was like, I figured, oh yeah, she's a big Trekkie. She's gonna be coming in hard on this, and it's like way harder on Lilo instead.
No, because Star Trek, I have a very like open belief system. It's like, yeah, if you didn't like this Star Trek, there's this Star Trek. You also brought me in for the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, which I'm more, I'm more friendly for that. But this is Lilo and Stitch now. Like this is truth or fact. Like this is not a game of my opinion means this. This is just what the film is, and I will argue if I think you're wrong.
Look, okay. I'll specify. I don't think she was fair when she wanted to blow up Earth. I think that's where I draw the line.
Have you met Planet Earth, Andrew?
Yes. Now I think it's a little like, okay, well, we'll think about it. But at the time, come on. we had a chance back then. We had a chance.
No, to them, we are nothing but an ant colony in front of them. If you were chasing after something, okay, like say you lost a toonie and it rolled down and it went inside this little anthill, would you stop to think about all the ants you're about to murder with that hose, trying to get your toonie back? Like, no, you just do it. Okay. That is what we are to her.
This is true. But she gives Stitch a chance to speak in his favor. And what he ends up saying is... "Mi gana la quista," which everyone reacts like he said every bad word combined. Like it was insane. What do you guys think that means?
That's a good question.
Because it wasn't just like an insult to the councilwoman. It was like he insulted everyone's like sense of self.
Like someone threw up.
Yes, it was like someone threw up.
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, my response is not PG-13, so that's...
Well, this is an unrated podcast.
Yeah, you can go ahead. Disney ain't listening.
Disney, don't come out me, please.
What you got, Steph? What do you think?
Oh, man. Like, even as a kid, I was like, this is definitely saying something, like, terrible, like, straight white man rapey comments coming out of his mouth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because
I was like, what's going to make him... It's like, it's going to be like when you're catcalled on the street and someone's, like, coming at you and you're horrified, and it's just some, like, white dude, and he's like... Yeah, I'd fuck your blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to say more.
Wow, you think Stitch would say the F word?
Dude, I think, like, hello, Russian evil genius, like, raised him in a lab. Absolutely. He is saying, like, every bad word under the sun. Yeah. Those Russians ain't filtered.
That is, yeah. I was thinking it was maybe something like an insult that was like more disgusting, like I will wear your skin, like something like really like oh god, yeah. Like
I guess, and this is sort of the beauty of the joke, is that you can interpret it whatever you find fitting. Like I always thought it was some sort of kind of like extreme racist joke, you know, like something that like that's so extreme. Like he insulted like an entire planet by race or like, you know, whatever. And it's just like, everyone's like, the fuck, man. There's a great video, FYI, if you go check out, we had one of our guests, Law, he was on the show. He did a very cute like Lilo and Stitch interview where he interviewed Stitch.
No, I saw that.
Did you see this
so
clip?
Jealous.
And he asked the question, like, if I said, and he said the phrasing, the cut to Stitch, whose mouth was agape, just in shock that Law said it to him. And then I think my favorite part is that like Stitch goes like, does director know you said that? And Law's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's like, does director know?
He just like, that was like an intergalactic swear.
Yeah.
What is Law thinking? Like, I'm sorry, Law, but that's on you.
Yeah.
You have to deal with the repercussions. I think you've just been banned from space.
Yeah, like you got space canceled. Like I never knew that was possible.
You got canceled in a galactic space. But I think that's what like the joy, that's I think where the charm comes in, because like we're all thinking different terrible thoughts based on our own like what we would be super insulted by. And that movie just lets you interpret it.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, when you're a kid, you could think horrible thoughts like me, or you could be like, oh, maybe he said a bad word about the potty, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And that's why everyone's like vomiting, and like to your kid brain, you're like, it could be this, could be that, but without being super graphic. And so everyone at any level understands the horror of what Stitch said.
Yes, exactly. Everyone can understand the horror of what.
Yeah.
So then they're actually only going to exile him to like a remote like planet or something.
Space Federation is the best.
They're not going to kill him, which I'm like, wow, that's nice of them.
I will just point out the parallels between the Federation in the Star Trek universe and the Federation in the Stitch universe. Very great things. Very great things. No notes.
Well, they did. I believe, don't they say Jumbo worked for the Federation, but he was just doing this on the side? He was like making his weird little clones on the side.
Yeah. He shouldn't have been doing this yet.
Yeah. But then Stitch escapes, and
Beautifully.
It's like playing off of his grossness. He manages to, he spits.
That's so gross.
He hawks a loogie. That's really gross.
Yeah, but like when Tom Cruise does it, it's like, oh, it's attractive, and he's tied to a chair, and blah blah blah.
When did Tom Cruise do it?
First off, I don't think it's any.
I don't know.
First of all, I don't think it's any more attractive.
I was just thinking because Mission Impossible this weekend. But no, it's like, you know, when the protagonist is tied to a chair and like he's being threatened by the bad guy, and the good guy's like, do your worst, and spits in his face. It's like that. It's that moment.
Okay.
Just play off that moment.
Side note, someone pointed out the fact that like it's actually a rematch between Tom Cruise and Stitch, because in 2002, Minority Report came out the exact same weekend as Lilo and Stitch.
Oh
no, go Stitch! I hope
Minority Report barely won. They were like it won, but like barely. It barely won the box office that weekend. I think very clearly, without even looking at it, I gotta think it's suspicion Stitch won this year. But
I don't know.
I'm here for this Stitch revenge.
It took 23 years, but they did it. You did it, bud.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise.
That's what the real topic is this weekend.
Was that?
I said that's what the real topic is this weekend. It's Stitch's revenge.
Stitch's revenge. I didn't see that one. Did that come out after Leroy and Stitch?
It's actually a minor episode of season 2.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Where he has to fight the IMF, but they don't call them the IMF. You know,
what was the Barbenheimer name they tried to do for Stitch?
It's Stitch Possible.
Oh, they did.
That's what I did it though. I did Stitch Possible this weekend.
I'm gonna do Stitch Possible.
If they're really into that marketing, they would have done Stitch like bursting through a Tom Cruise scene.
Well, see, if they were smart, they would have shook hands this weekend and made the best thing win.
No, here's the thing. Like, it wouldn't be cordial at all. Tom Cruise would come in and be like, very like, yeah, let's shake hands. Well, let's be professionals about this. Yeah. And Stitch would just be like, fuck you. And like destroy the set, like break. He would mentally break Tom Cruise.
I do now. I'm so sad that we don't get to see Tom Cruise shake hands with Stitch, because there's been so much Tom Cruise on red carpet content the past, honestly, couple of years where he's just like, I love movies. Like he's eating popcorn, he's going to theaters, he's holding up his ticket stub.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't have made the deal with Stitch. That would have been funny.
The issue is he didn't want. No, he was fine with the deal.
Yeah, Stitch.
Stitch was like, no, thank you, I'm winning.
Stitch with the paper gun with the money, and they go. Anyway.
Back to the Federation, which is fair and just, and was just like, let's, you're a creature of mass destruction. Let's exile you, buddy.
So Stitch escapes. He goes to Earth, and then we meet the best alien that's ever existed, Pleakley.
Voiced also by all of us.
Voiced by Kevin McDonald, who I'm a big Kids in the Hall guy. So I love Kevin McDonald.
And Pleakley is so incredibly funny, and it's kind of you see this every once in a while in a sci-fi setting where it's an alien obsessed with human culture.
Yeah.
And they get it all like wrong, and it's so funny every time.
Yeah.
It's so
But
funny.
even when they do get it right, it's so ridiculous. Like, it makes us, I love that outside perspective as well, because it makes everything that we do look super dumb.
Yeah.
Like the whole bit with the mosquitoes, it's like they're an endangered species. You just have to let them feed and do all these things. Like, there's a truth in there. But the rest is ridiculous.
Yeah. The through line of the mosquitoes, I want to point it out, and I'll say it because it's not in the remake. They mention mosquitoes, but it doesn't get the same payoff.
Yeah.
In this film, they set it up that Pleakley loves Earth, and he knows that it's a mosquito reserve, essentially. They go to Earth. Pleakley, a mosquito lands on him, and he gets so excited, and then 100 mosquitoes land on him. He gets covered in mosquito bites.
Perch.
Then we get to the very end of the film. We'll come back and go over everything, but the final mosquito gag is so funny because Cobra Bubbles, who something has been up with the whole time, the Grand Councilwoman is like, "You look familiar," and he goes, "Oh yeah, I was Roswell in '73 or whatever he said."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, of course." And he goes, "Yeah, I convinced an alien race that mosquitoes were endangered." It's like, oh my God. Like
the payoff to that.
Such a good payoff.
So good.
Yeah. Too funny.
But Pleakley is adorable with his obsession with Earth, and I'm here for it. I stand Pleakley forever. And he gets paired up with our beloved non-Russian scientist, Shamba.
And they're like a classic odd couple.
Yeah.
Pleakley's like a skinny little weirdo, and Jumba's like oversized and like stomps around.
Right.
He's grumpy. Pleakley's like happy, like too happy all the time.
Right.
Very, very good odd coupling going on there.
And we do need to get to Lilo very soon. But just
hey, like the movie, we start in space for like 20 minutes, and then we get to Lilo.
I do love that though. I love that so much because it's such a very great cold open of a very different movie. And then you do your classic setup of cutting to black of the poor species on the planet or whatever. They set up cut to black, and then what I love is this big wave of Hawaiian culture just in your face. You get the beautiful ocean, you get the beautiful tropical, you get the beautiful fish, you get the song that begins the film, and it's this whole mood. It's to me it's almost like they we failed to mention at this point that the directors and writers of the directors of the film and writers of it is Chris Sanders and Dean DeBlas. Sanders created Stitch back in 1985. It was a character that he's had in his art book, sketchbook for decades, and basically figured out the story of eventually. We'll get more into the making of it a little bit later, but it was a character he's had for a very, very long time, and so I can see them being excited about the idea of we're going to do this very heavy sci-fi kids movie in the first 20 minutes, and then smash cut into a very different movie, a very different feeling, a very different vibe that changes it from the suburban-y area element of an Emblem film, which I kind of brought up, E.T. for a reason, is that that's suburban America. Here it's okay, this is Hawaii. This is the life of a child in Hawaii, in a tourist part of Hawaii too. And so what a great way to change the tone immediately, but then set you into this girl's world very, very quickly, in a world that's very unique in the 2000s, like that was the other thing. Andrew, you brought up representation. That's like, that is a key thing that was kind of cool about this movie, is that like, yeah, this is about Pacific Islanders and Asian folks on Hawaii. They're the leads. If I have to make one quick knock, I'm really sorry. Even though she was very good as Lilo, David Chase is the only white actor portraying a Hawaiian character. We'll get to the rest of the cast fairly soon, but she is the one that they did not cast a Hawaiian actor to play the title character.
Yeah.
Is what it is. She did great. I want to be clear. Her performance is very, very, very good, but that is the one little I have, a little knock I have to put on it because of,
And I think the fun fact that has to be brought up every time is that she then would also play the girl coming out of the well in The Ring.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So
she went through a lot.
She went through a lot.
Yeah.
But I do also want to like how huge was it in 2002 when this movie came out and it was on a local Hawaiian girl, as opposed to like people love setting their films in Hawaii and islands, especially Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
But they love casting a white person to play a local or someone who lives on Hawaii instead of a local Hawaiian, which I love that Disney did, or that like creative decision was made to make her a local Hawaiian girl as opposed to like an expat,
right,
or something like that. I get it, it's all like America, but yeah.
No, I agree, and that's something that I will still stand as like a great like moving forward in terms of the kind of leads they were putting in their film. Because there's another version of this movie where it would have been about a tourist girl, wouldn't it? Like,
it would have been Emma Stone in Aloha.
Or it would have been Emma Stone in Aloha.
I was thinking exactly of that film and all the films like it.
And what was that other one with George Clooney, and he was...
The Descendants?
The Descendants, yes.
Yeah.
Where it's like, why... It's set on Hawaii, but it's all the white people? Okay, whatever, Jesus. Like, God.
No, like, there's a film coming out.
What was a musical on a Greek island?
Oh, Mamma Mia?
Yeah, Mamma Mia. It's like all the main cast are like other white people. I'm like, where's my Greek family?
They're all in My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, true.
Very true.
Don't want to do that movie.
But what was that? Anyway, like, because like I said, like there could have been a version of this movie where like it would have been about a tourist girl who could have been born on a family vacation in Hawaii, blah, blah, blah. That's a version that could have existed. And I'm sure that even somebody executive-wise threw at Sanders and DeBlas and be like, oh, well, can it be like... And they're like, no. No, it's about the locals.
About a little Hawaiian girl, and her name is Lilo.
So go
End of story.
End of story.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great kind of like, to me, that shows like the kind of strength of the tone shift of understanding your movie, and so perfectly puts you in Lilo's world so quickly.
And I do want to say, I also want to quickly add to this, because I'm going to have a point about this in the second part of this podcast. But I also want to point out the music choice. It's like opening up with the Hawaiian music, and all the music choices going forward are amazing and so well done. Like, you get immediately feel for the culture, the vibes that we're going for when we're in space versus when we're on Earth in Hawaii. And then like throughout the film as well, like it treats music like the art that it is.
Yeah.
And it's very distinctual. Like, I have the soundtrack, both like the score and the music from the film, which is mostly Elvis. and I'm saying this as someone who also like does not care for Elvis music. It's not for me. I think it's brilliant. I think the use of Elvis and the use of like music from the moment we see Lilo in the water and we're getting those opening credits, it's like, yes, whatever is happening, I'm here for it. Yeah. It's not just visuals. I want to say it's the music too.
I the Elvis thing is interesting to me because I'd forgotten how much Elvis stuff there is in the original, and they definitely don't bring it into the remake, so I'll bring it up now. But it's the idea that Lilo loves Elvis beyond just music. There's a whole sequence where Lilo's teaching Stitch how to be good using the lessons of Elvis.
Yeah.
It's like there was, because there was one part in there where it was like, yeah, just kiss an old lady. And I'm like, yeah, that is kind of an Elvis lesson, huh? Just kiss people with no permission, huh?
I was very confused. Like, this is the only portion of the film that took a long time for me to understand, having grown up in a bit of a cult situation. I had no idea what any of the Elvis stuff meant for the longest time. Wow. I was so confused because I didn't know who Elvis was. I didn't know anything about Elvis. Like, I lived in a bubble. So going into this, I was like, I didn't get the Elvis joke for the longest time. And it didn't click until I think I was like well into my late 20s, where I was like, oh, I see now.
But yeah,
needless to say, I'm still like not on the Elvis train.
But like now you understand, there's like there's a hope, there's like a Hawaiian focus. There's an Elvis element in the Hawaiian culture. Like Elvis was very popular for doing certain movies in Hawaii, etc. So yeah.
Yes. Now I absolutely get that. But for the longest time, I was like, it's a man who dresses in a weird white suit and sings, and everyone's like obsessed.
Well, that's like a part of it.
What is going on?
You haven't said a wrong thing yet.
Okay. So I still don't mostly get it, but okay. Someone explain this joke to me 25 years later.
But yeah, the Elvis stuff and the songs are good. Like you're saying, I did enjoy all of that. I wanted to so we're meeting Lilo, and the first like interaction, the first like real scene that she has with other characters. Yeah. It's her, kind of being a bad kid. She's running late to her hula class. Yeah. And she's not as good. She is bullied. I'm not going to say it's all her fault, but it is. I think that's such a core thing in this movie, is that Lilo and Stitch are both kind of outcasts. Yeah, they're both bad in their own way, and they have to. Them coming together, they can learn from each other. I think that's so core to this movie, and it's such an interesting idea. It's not like Lilo's a perfect child who's like, well, I can fix Stitch. Yeah. And it's not like Stitch is like, well, I better fix Lilo. Like, they come together in a way because they see each other's badness and they see how it's affecting each other.
They're little chaos beings, and it's adorable. And they smush together and become chaos best friends.
But yeah, so I do enjoy the way that Lilo wishes on the shooting star, which is Stitch coming down. Yes. This is like, honestly, one of the best jokes ever, I think, where she sees a shooting star. We know that it's Stitch crashing on the planet. She's like, a shooting star, I gotta make a wish. She makes a wish, and she's like, I need a best friend. Send me your most good angel. And then it cuts to the explosion, the fire, and Stitch jumps up and like does evil laughter while a fire rages around him.
It's not just like evil laughter; it's like an evil cackle. Which is, by the way, that like I have that as a GIF. The scene where he's just like cackling with the fire in the background, and I have that as a GIF, and it's like my most used GIF. Like I have it personally saved on my phone because I'll use that to respond to situations involving my friendships with people all the time.
That is so funny that it's like, because I think part of it, we know that Stitch is bad, so we're wishing for that, and then we see him and it's like, uh-oh.
The best angel you have.
It's amazing. It's so good. I do want to bring up I do want to bring up Nani.
Okay, yeah.
Nani's obviously very important. Nani played by Tia Carrere, who's Lilo's 18-year-old older sister, and at the moment her legal guardian. And it's just to get this out of the way, we do find out that their parents died in what I think is like a car accident, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was very
yeah, they're
and
raining.
It was raining,
and they went for a drive.
Yeah, and it's a complicated relationship because it's essentially like, and the thing that's kind of been great about the film is exploring the idea that like Nani is still technically a kid herself. She's still a young person, and she had to immediately turn into an adult very quickly in a situation that she wasn't obviously ready for. And the movie does explore the complications of that relationship between the two, because it's like Nani is barely an adult herself and has to kind of act like her parents to Lilo. And Lilo, there's a big hit scene where Lilo says to her like, I like you better as a sister. And because that's a different relationship, that's a different dynamic that they had. But now that Nani has to be the responsible adult, and she doesn't really quite know how to do that yet, that is kind of the heart of the film in a lot of ways. Outside of her relationship with Stitch, is like the relationship between the two sisters, who are kind of have to readjust their lives for each other, and the struggle of that, because it's so life's unfair and it just happened to them so quickly, and I as someone who kind of like grew up watching Wayne's World. And becoming a fan of Tia Carrere from that movie. I was kind of always like a little worried to not see Tia Carrere in movies after a while, because she just sort of, like at the end of the day, she's because she is a native Hawaiian. She's from Honolulu, Hawaii, and also she is Filipino too. So it's one of those things where it's like, not seeing a lot of Filipino actors like her in movies or TV on the regular. I always worried about like, oh, is she going to get forgotten, or is she not going to be in projects anymore? Or is she going to disappear like Hollywood tends to do when someone's not famous or popular enough for them? And so I was a little worried for Tia Carrere for a while, but so I was kind of happy to find out that she was voicing this character in a Disney film. Same goes for we won't go to him too much at the moment, but same goes for David, who's played by Jason Scott Lee, another actor I really loved because I was a big fan of Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. He's another guy who's from Hawaii. He's another guy, but he did such a beautiful job playing Bruce Lee that I feel like he should have been a bigger star. He should have been in like action movies alongside Steven Seagal and Van Damme, and he's a better actor than those two. And again, same deal. They kind of pushed him away and kind of forgot about him. But hey, at least he gets, I remember being happy to find, oh cool, he's in this movie at the minimum. That's cool. And yeah, no, I that stuff also really kind of I reflect a lot of my life. I can kind of respond to that because like my sister is my sister is only like a really good. My sister is like a good 10 years older than me, so she actually, in a way, also helped raise me growing up, along with my parents, but also my brother, who is like 1 year younger than my sister. So the kind of sibling / parent relationship that Nani and Lilo have, that's what I responded to a lot, because I see a lot of me growing up with an older brother and sister that kind of also I look at them in a parental way as well, because they were helping raise me the same way while my mom and dad were working a lot. So my sister would be the one to pick me up from school, my brother will be the one to drop me off, or he's the one who got me into art and film. My sister like would like take me to the grocery store and etc. All the other stuff that parents tend to do, my siblings also did that as well. So that's kind of what I related to the most with Lilo, was having like an older sibling who kind of was acting like my parent at the same time. So that stuff to me really hits me.
Yeah. The Nani and Lilo dynamics are just another favorite thing I have about this film. Like, I want to say this film is flawless for so many reasons. And one of them is that relationship, because I was also in a situation where I was parentified by siblings, and then also viewed other siblings as parents for myself as well, just coming from a big family and the dynamics there. And I was I read a lot online and I go into the forums and I like to dabble in fan communities. And in the Lilo and Stitch fandom, like there is a huge, huge hate for Nani because of how she was like, people were calling her selfish and essentially like bad naming her for trying essentially and failing to be a mother to Lilo. And I think that a lot of people who don't understand because they haven't been in a situation where a sibling has become a parent to their other sibling. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, it really hits in the feels. And I think once you've seen it with each other, with other people in your life, then you can finally begin to understand the beauty that is Nani and Lilo's relationship, as flawed as it is.
Agreed.
Or I need to, yeah.
So then we get to the dog adoption, which it's very funny how they animate the dogs like on top of the like enclosures, like they've gotten as far away from Stitch as possible, just because looking at him
scale the walls.
Well, oh yeah, he gets hit by a truck and he pops every tire.
Yeah,
which is that again, like that whole sequence of Stitch coming out of the fire. He points all his ray guns at a frog and like tries to question the frog. That's so funny.
Shutty.
He gets run over by a truck, pops all the tires, and they take him into an animal shelter. And even the lady running it is like, we thought he was dead. And they're like, something's wrong with him, because when he comes in, he's in his alien form. He's got extra arms. He's got the antenna. He's got the spikes on his back. And so when Lilo comes in and he knows that Jumba, he wants to escape, but he knows Jumba is there waiting for him to capture him. He decides to blend in, and he like sucks in his arms and his antenna and pretends to be a dog, but he also doesn't know dogs can't talk, so he says hello. Like he's like doesn't know what he's doing, and he has to be told dogs don't talk, and he's like, oh, bark bark.
Yeah. Can I bring up one thing that I do? This is actually my one issue in the Lilo and Stitch universe. Can I just talk about it really quick?
Oh yeah.
I want to talk about the alien erasure of Stitch in the Lilo and Stitch universe, because we understand why he goes from his alien form to his more like dog-like form in the film, but then you notice that he stays in that form all the time after that.
Yeah.
And he doesn't go. What happens to his two other arms, his antennae, his like back feathers? Where do they go? Yeah. And then the other thing is like merch as well. Merch is all Stitch in his dog form. It's like, why is there a lack of Stitch in alien form?
Yeah.
That's his true self.
Oh,
why is he conformed?
Let me tell you, I'm right there with you, because as I'm a Disney pin collector. I used to collect a lot more, but it's kind of petered out. But when I got into it, one of the things that I collected very specifically was any Disney pin where Stitch was in his alien form.
Yes.
His alien form is so cool looking, and I love the way that they represented it. Mostly in pins, it was obviously moments from the film where he was an alien, but they did do some like original stuff. They did do some other weird little things. Like, I think, am I remembering this correctly? They did some art crossover, and it went into the pins as well, where different Disney characters were portrayed as different Star Wars characters, and so they made Stitch General Grievous because of the extra arm.
That's funny.
And I'm like, I love Grievous as well. So it was just like, oh my god, it was like the combo that I loved. But yeah, it's definitely whenever they show him as an alien, I thought that looked so much cooler than as a dog. And I think the movie does it. There's a specific moment later in the film when Lilo sees Stitch as an alien.
Yeah.
And he has his alien parts out, and she gets mad at him. It's like they're kind of like the moment where they lose she loses faith in him because she realizes I didn't have a dog, and these aliens that are ruining our life are, they're after you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think they do that specifically to show like he's not a dog. Like, so Lilo has that moment of like, you're not a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though throughout the entire movie, so many other people look at Stitch and go, I don't think that's a dog.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, like, you can see they're all thinking it, but no one goes to a big effort of trying to prove it.
I think it's a respect thing. It's like, you don't want to insult. Like, these two have gone through so much already, and if this is their pet, I don't want to tell Nani that she got like a wrong thing. She's already gone through a lot. Maybe she has it under control, and look, Lilo's a oddball kid, so maybe this makes sense that she would have a blue dog.
All right, Justin. Clearly, you grew up next to their house. You're such good at defending. You sounded like a local neighbor.
But that's not even like mean. Like but that to me is like what is like kind of a very like kind of polite-ish thing to do. It's just like, you don't want to be you don't want to be the one that brings them down. So if they're like, that's the neighbor's dog. That's a dog. Shh.
We just don't say anything.
We just don't say anything. They're nice. She's a good kid. What she can be, Anyway, actually, even before the dog scene, we do get introduced to Bubbles.
Right.
When Cobra Bubbles.
While in his first time meeting Nani, because he's a social worker, and he doesn't, of course, have the vibe of a social worker. He does look and smell if I could smell him, he does look like an MIB member. And like, already you see like all the levels that Nani just isn't ready, even beyond the fact that Lilo was making it extremely hard that day. There are all these things that like Nani just couldn't, like, was already like there was like stuff on the stove already that it was like fire, like.
Yeah, so I just want to say with Cobra Bubbles really quickly, who I've always pictured him as is like a live action actor is Dave Bautista.
Oh, see, that would have been very good.
I just picture him in my head, be like, he has that same vibes that Dave Bautista brings, which to every conversation, which is non-intelligent, doped up man. And I'm like, can you imagine if he was your social worker?
Oh, no, yeah, he's knocking on your door. And he's just no. I'm like, oh, fuck me.
Well,
now to be fair, Ving Rhames is the voice of Bubbles, and Ving Rhames, circa 2002, same vibe.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I like is carrying everything to its completion. Ving Rhames is in the Mission Impossible series.
That's right.
And I can only imagine for this very important Stitch Possible weekend. Well, that Tom Cruise was so happy to have someone on his side.
Well, they share an actor in the remake.
Yes.
We'll get to that.
Yes, we'll get to that.
But they do. There is a Stitch Possible connection of one actor of this weekend. Anyway, but yes, Ving Rhames totally fits your description of that too. So he's definitely in 2002. Also, hey, Ving Rhames, welcome back. You were, of course, in Dawn of the Dead and the Garfield movie. Who did he play in the Garfield movie?
He was the bull that they had to help break into the thing, and he basically did his Mission Impossible bit there.
He was doing a Luthery
Steph,
thing.
did you see the Garfield movie?
Of course not.
The Garfield movie with Chris Pratt as Garfield.
What?
Famous Italian actor, Italian American portrayer.
The last Garfield movie I remember they were making was with that one comedian,
Bill Murray,
who was a zombie. Yes, Bill Murray. Thank you.
He was a zombie.
He was a zombie. That's true.
Yeah.
Ironically, when he was a zombie in that movie, the joke was, any regrets, Bill? And he's like, oh, maybe Garfield.
Yeah, exactly. Which reminds me, every time that I have not seen the Garfield movies, and I guess there's more than one with Chris Pratt now. Great.
There's the 3.
I love that exists for people.
There are 3?
God, I forgot there was a second one. The way that you said there were 3, I like it was like my nightmare alarm went off. I'm like, what?
Yeah, Bill Murray was in 2 of them. Because the other one I think was like I think the Garfield movie, the second Garfield movie was like a Prince and the Pauper style thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that exists.
That exists, as well as Chris Pratt voicing Garfield. Would not be the only time we'll talk about Garfield.
Wait, did you guys cover that in the remake?
We did.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was
well, because we were already we had already done the Super Mario Brothers with Chris Pratt, so it's just if Chris Pratt's gonna take on an animated role that he shouldn't,
here we are.
We gotta watch it, I guess.
We had to do it again.
Every role.
And what was the irony is I think I liked the Chris Pratt movie more than I did the Bill Murray movie.
Yeah, but you still really didn't like it.
No, I still didn't like it, but compared to the two, that was like cinema. Anyway, also I always remember I will say before we head off, I remember Ving Rhames' delivery as Bubbles, where he's like about ready to leave and he goes like, by the way, in case you were wondering, this did not go well.
Oh, best exit of all time.
Oh my god.
Do we think that Cobra Bubbles was like, I need to slow down with all my Men in Black galaxy saving antics and take something low stakes?
1,000%. Because if he's been
he's a protector. He wants to be in a protector role, and what better position to be in than a children's social worker?
If this is 2002 and he was doing Roswell shit in 1970s, then probably around that time he's like, to quote another famous actor, I'm getting too old for this shit. So he's like, is there a job I can do? It's a little less
kind of semi-retirement because it's Hawaii.
Yeah. Oh, is there a job in Hawaii I can do? Well, I guess you can do social work. Please.
Whatever keeps you on the payroll, son. Whatever keeps you on the payroll.
Please. Yeah, that sounds great.
He's still working for the government, just in a different capacity.
Yeah. He's still wearing suits in Hawaii. That's the adjustment he hasn't figured out yet.
Yeah. I just love the idea that he's super passionate about his job, though, too.
Yeah.
Like, he genuinely is just like, he's like, no bullshit. Lilo, you in a bad situation? Yes, no, like blink twice? Okay, good. If you are, we will extract you now. If you're fine, great. But I got my eyes on you. I got you. Like, he's, I just like picture this like frenzied, like 100% scariest guard dog of your life, but loyal.
I do also like that it is like he's like unflappable. Like he could see anything he could see, and he would just stand there, no flinch, no movement, and he'd just go, "Okay, we're taking care of this."
Yeah.
So yes, they adopt Stitch.
Yeah.
It's like, here's how to solve all my life problems. Let's get you a puppy. But it's like perfect because it's like, that's the one thing I do love about the animated film is that Nani and all her like teen glory was like, I believe this will fix her.
And I will point something out that we'll put a pin on it. Lilo just calls him Stitch. That's the name she gives him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's completely fine. It's like,
I love it.
It's very simple. It's like, why that name? Because that's his name.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even the the
another
worker.
thing I do want to point out is that she does paperwork and like hands over the donation or paperwork fee to the worker as well, which is another tidbit I want to like cover because the rules, the mosquito population, the endangered species, and all that stuff. Like it really fits in with the like, oh, I have legally adopted Stitch. Boom.
Yeah. I also really love the bit of like,
we'll put a pin in that for later.
I also love the bit of Lilo going, no, I'll pay for it. Nani, can I borrow $2?
Yes. And it's such a sister moment too. Yeah. It's like, yes, like exactly.
100%.
My sibling would do the same.
Exactly. Now, Jumbo and Pleakley are the other entertaining thing about them throughout this film is Pleakley is like, look, Jumbo, you can't just walk around. you're an alien to these people. You will scare the living hell out of them. We can't do that. So they, of course, wear the most ridiculous.
And not because they want to like avoid first contact, mind you. It's literally because it's like they're fragile people.
Yeah. They wouldn't be able to understand what we are, you know?
Yeah. They would just keel over right away.
So, they wear the most amazing, ridiculous outfits throughout the entire film, and no one bats an eye. It's like, yeah, I guess so, sure. That's
the other thing that I love about this film is that they're treated like they're just random white tourists. So everyone's like, oh, you know, white people sort of situation. I'm white, so whatever. And they're just like, oh, those damn white people. What are they doing?
And it's
tourists.
Bleakly, I saw a very funny reel on Instagram where someone was making fun of like the first moment that Bleakly put on that wig. And he just must have been like, Jumba, check this out. What the hell? I look so good.
I know. He's like, honestly, I love it too because he's just like he's got his little mirror and he's got his wig on and he's just like staring at himself and he's like, I fucking look amazing.
I never
so pro body positive.
I never knew I needed this, but I needed this.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it becomes like
I have so many thoughts of them as a couple.
Yeah, like Bleakly becomes female coded, like they're trying to blend in as like a couple.
Yeah.
But I kind of this movie never does like a gay joke about it. It's always like Bleakly is like respected.
Yeah.
Like it's like yes, wear your dress, whatever. Like let's move on, and we're trying to catch this alien over here.
And honestly, one of the best scenes in the whole movie is when they try to catch Stitch and they're at the luau and they're like, Stitch had bit on Bleakly's head and everyone's like, oh my god, are you okay? And they're like, your face is so swollen. And Jumba just turns to them and he's like, actually, she's just ugly. And honest to God, I don't know why, but that part in the movie makes me laugh every time. And everyone's just like, oh, okay, yeah, not an alien. Okay, cool. It's just an ugly woman.
Again, it's like, it's respect. It's like, look, I don't know your business. I don't want to.
Absolutely. It's do not get involved with them.
I'm not here to judge. If your wife has only one eye and is mostly green head, that's none of my business. Do you want more pork? You know?
Right? And everyone's just like super supportive of them as a couple, and it's never not once questioned by anyone. There's never it just happens naturally.
They never question why the little girl has a blue fuzzy thing that might not really be a dog. They don't question that these two tourist people, that one looks a little fuzzier than the other. We don't. Look. Everyone's fine. They're fine. We're fine. Do you want more poi?
Yeah, the people in Hawaii have seen some shit, I guess, by now. They're really desensitized.
I think it also is that idea of like, well, whoever they are, they're tourists, so they're going to be gone next week.
That's true.
Like we don't got to concern ourselves with them. They're here for a good time, and then they leave. Whatever.
As long as they're paying, I don't give a shit what they're doing.
They're spending money.
As long as they pay that dinner bill.
Yeah. I have to imagine that Bleakly had like Earth money, like.
Yeah.
That was like part of his like thing that he had. Like,
oh, don't worry, I have Earth credits.
Yeah.
And he would also have like the accurate amounts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As well. And like and not mix up the country. He's like, we're in the state of Hawaii. They actually, and he would pull out like rare coins or something that you don't see in use or something. He'd be like, I'm gonna pay with this. So it's like it's accurate, but it's not real.
That
is like when someone comes at you with a $2 paper bill.
Like someone's looking like the waiter is looking at this like thing that he used and like, hey, yo, shows the manager like, do we still accept these?
Yeah.
Have we ever accepted these?
There were to use some of my other knowledge, coin knowledge, there were Hawaiian quarters from like the 1800s or something.
Yeah.
That were struck just for Hawaii, and it was like it had whoever the king was at the time. I can't remember the name, but they were not made for very long, and they are worth a little more than a quarter. I'd say they're worth probably like $20-$30 or something. So yes, I could see Bleakley using Hawaiian quarters, and they're like,
would be all over that. Yeah. He'd be like, this is what I'm paying with. I'm paying.
Now the irony of that though, if like Andrew, like let's just say like the manager of the restaurant, we're writing a whole new scene. Talking right now. Where like the manager of the restaurant is like a coins enthusiast, sees this and realizes that this person's paying with a far more value than their bill. Take it.
Yep, sounds about right. Disney, call us.
Yeah, I'll take. Yeah, pay us in Hawaiian quarters from 1800s. So they, I don't even know where to go next. We've jumped around. We have jumped around. Like, we can go ahead and talk about the fact that like this obviously leads into Nani getting fired from
which
from
is
job.
Part of a problem. She needs to be able to hold a job.
Yeah,
they make that kind of clear that's if she can't even provide.
Yeah.
For Lilo, then Lilo will have to go into a foster home. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like the stakes going on with them.
Right.
The thing is, like, they're not disagreeable stakes, right? Like, you understand as well, like, even as a kid, you're like, shit, Nani doesn't have a job. She needs a job. How will she pay?
Yeah. And it's a lot. Again, this is kind of where I feel like hitting, you have, like, the fact that, like, you kind of have to be reminded that Nani is, like, I don't think it's ever really outright said Nani's 18. I think that's probably an old character note that's just floating around, but it's not, like, you have to really do understand, like, she is a kid herself.
She was young, like 18 to 20, I think.
Yeah, and so that's the thing that, like, is very apparent. Like, I remember being 18 and to 20, and let me tell you, I definitely didn't know how to get my shit ready back then, so it's like, it's a lot.
Setting up bills for bank accounts, no.
What the fuck are bills? How do I handle bills?
And the thing is, like, too, like, think like how estates happen too when a family dies, right? Like, when one person dies, you have to close their estate, you have to deal with a will and like all these other things, and it's exhausting.
Yeah,
it costs so much money and lawyers and time, and like she had both parents die, which means that like she would have instantly would have been called about making legal decisions and paperwork and estate law, and because like when two parents die, they were often more than likely in each other's will. Like she would have had to jump through so many hoops dealing with the death of their parents already, let alone like maintaining a job for as long as she did and taking care of her sister for as long as she did, because we're given the understanding that enough time has passed that they're concerned about Lilo, but not too much that the grief is super, super fresh.
Right. So let's kind of go in, this is kind of like, we kind of touched upon a lot of this stuff already.
There's an entire character that we have not talked about.
Oh my God.
It's Captain Gantu.
Ooh. Oh, yes.
He looks like a whale.
A big boy.
Yeah.
Like a shark.
Like a shark.
And he is sent to clean up the mess after Jubba and Pleakley cannot capture Stitch. It's like they've gone code red. They're going to send him in and he'll be able to take care of it.
He's voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson. Just a good old, like you want like a guy who works. Like, he's a working man's voice actor. That's this dude. He has done so many projects. This guy. I'm sure he's working on 8 today. This man just works. He is constantly working, and he works for everybody. He is a very, very busy person. Anyway, just want to bring that up. He's just a very respected voice actor.
Yeah. And so
I love him because he's so alien too. He's like bipedal, but he's like massive, and like, doors are hard, all that good stuff.
So he is sent to capture Stitch, which he succeeds with the net gun.
Yeah.
Right, but then they also Lilo gets caught up. And he doesn't
a little
care.
Snack.
Yeah. So he's going to take them both, and this is where now Nani confronts. Well, we're skipping over the whole fight. The fight scene's really funny.
Oh yeah.
In the house where they destroy the house.
oh, good, my dog found the chainsaw.
Which
is like
really funny.
Yeah, I actually want to talk about that because it kind of shows like Lilo is like, well, she's very out of her element, is also a super smart child, because it's not like she calls 911 during that scene. She's like, Cobra Bubbles, that man, like that sus social worker, I'm gonna call him instead of 911.
I think before we even, like, just to touch a bit on it, because we have to, we do have to wrap to the end, but I do want to say, like, the part of the great strength of the movie is, of course, seeing the growth of Stitch, understanding, getting his, like, the understanding kind of, like, once, like, starting as a sort of, like, this, like, chaos buddy, as so appropriately Steph said earlier, to just wanting to destroy things and rip things apart, to, realizing he's extremely lonely. He doesn't actually have anyone outside of, he doesn't have anyone that he can call family. And slowly but surely realizes that this girl is becoming family to him as he's learning about the concept of Ohana. And I actually, like I touched earlier, Steph, you touched on it earlier, but it is one of my favorite scenes in the original film, is him being so connected to the story of the Ugly Duckling, right? It was the Ugly Duckling?
Yes.
And, like, recreating one of the moments in the story where he's just kind of goes into the woods, and because the Ugly Duckling yells, like, I'm lost, and his family comes. And he tries it. It's like one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the original.
It's like the music, and he's like, he yells it out and then listens with his ear. It's like, oh my God.
And it just slowly fades. And it's just like, and I also kind of love, as he's leaving and he's trying to do his own thing, Lilo is trying to tell him, hey, I get it. Go ahead. I understand. But I won't forget you. Okay? Like, and Stitch is sort of like in his head. He's like, yeah, sure. And Lilo's like, okay, that's fine. But I love you. Yeah,
but that moment too, like, also made me cry hard, because when she was, because she just didn't say that as well. Like, she, to add on, she was like, yeah, you can go. I'll remember you. And then she turns away and she's like, I remember everyone who leaves.
Yeah, shit.
And that little line of dialogue is just like, oh, girl, you are so traumatized. And she's so lonely and just wants a friend so bad. Like, we also haven't touched on, like, her terrible school friends who are just like, little girls are bullies too. And then Scrump as well, who just had her surgery.
Well, and then
that we haven't mentioned about. And it's like Lilo is just this lonely little girl who has hobbies, who loves photography and taking pictures of ugly tourists, which also is amazing. Yeah. And, like, she loves art.
Well, the key thing about the line of her going, that you just said, was I
remember everyone who leaves.
Yeah, it's like, that's also kind of foreshadowing what might happen with Nani.
Yeah.
So already it's like, fuck. God damn it. Like, this poor little girl, But yes, now
that's the other thing too, is like, we also see Nani's struggle as well, because, Nani is the one who comes to the decision to give up Lilo. After all this, she's like, okay, there's nothing I can do. It's like the hardest decision, but she also recognizes it's probably the best one. Which I think is like the most beautiful moment are when Nani and Lilo are just being sisters and like staring up into the night sky and sitting together. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful moment that I love so much. And I think the film just does such a good job. Like, also when Nani and Lilo fight too. Like, they fight like sisters. And then they also love like sisters. And it's so beautiful seeing that in comparison.
Absolutely, yes. So now let's kind of jump to the end. They're both in the ship.
Yes.
They're both in the ship, and Nani has convinced, it didn't take much though. Convinced Jumbo to help her out to get Lilo back. And hold on, one second. What happens? Like, what's the next step after that? Like, what did they?
Well, Stitch manages to get out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he goes to find Jumba and Pleakley, and then he convinces Jumba to help him.
Oh, that's right. It was Jumba.
And Jumba's just like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Stitch is like, "You're my Plickly." And Jumba's like, okay. And Plickly's like, what? You're going to help him? And he's like, oh, he's very persuasive. And it's just like instant. It's like it, and I think that speaks for like Stitch and Jumba's relationship also, which we haven't really talked about much, is like creator and creation, and seeing the two of them together and how much they have sort of that like parental relationship a little bit. In a like, I'm your evil uncle, but we're still family, so it's okay. Like, definitely one of those like, we're family, so you gotta love me anyway sort of mentalities with each other. But they're also like oddly supportive of each other. It's like Stitch is never once like, don't do this, like you're evil scientist, blah blah blah. He's like, yeah, I'm your creation, you made me, and that's it. Okay, let's go. and then Jumba's very supportive of Stitch's evil doing. So it's like, he's a very just a proud dad. That's it. That's Jumba the entire film. He is just like a proud dad.
Yeah, he is
and
very
I
surprised.
Can't fault him for that.
Yeah, he's a lot surprised by a lot of the growth. Even when he's like going, no, wait, you shouldn't be doing that. But,
He is a scientist.
Yeah.
He wants to see what happens with his experiment.
Exactly, yeah. They do save. You know, there's a big, great fun sequence on the ship.
Yes, the ship. So they have a spaceship, of course. That's how they got to the planet. Yeah. And they take that to go chase after Gantu, and they take him down. Now, but you two are familiar with the deleted scene, aren't you?
Please.
What scene is deleted?
Please tell
the deleted 747 scene.
No.
So originally, they were not going to take a spaceship that they just had on the island somewhere. They were going to steal an aircraft from an airport.
Oh my God.
Stitch goes into the cockpit, scares the pilots. Everyone escapes through. Everyone on the plane gets off through the slide.
Yeah.
Then they steal the plane and go after Gantu, and they end up going through like a main city where they like hit. Well, they touch a building. They don't destroy it, but their landing gear touches a building, and like they use it to like turn or whatever on the building.
Yes. So
yes.
Before you even,
I did hear about this. Yeah.
So I actually never knew about this.
You can actually watch it on Disney Plus. They have it in the special features section or whatever. It's crazy.
But it's 2002.
Yes.
Which means very obviously the World Trade Center happened literally the year before, like literally
while they were making the movie.
Yeah, while they're making a movie, so they had to. This is something that can be its own like mini doc. Someone should make one day.
Yeah, all the movies that had to have a scene changed because of 9/11.
Yeah, understandably so.
Yeah, Spider-Man,
Zoolander, even. They had to like erase the two towers in the film. So it's one of those things where I was like realizing, like, oh man, here's a whole sequence of a literal like plane going into a major city, even though it doesn't, like you said, didn't destroy it, but it's just still too.
It's too close to what actually happened.
Yeah,
especially them stealing the plane.
Yeah,
like
they're hijacking.
They
a plane.
hijack a plane. Like it is such like. It felt like even watching I was like, well, I gotta watch this deleted scene.
It feels dirty now.
And I'm like, yeah, like even in the context of the rest of the movie, I'm like, this is kind of above and beyond all the bad things they do in the movie.
Yeah. It's one of those like, oh, fair, yeah, don't use that. And I guess it's funny. There's a bit of a quickness when Jumba reveals the ship, and Stitch even makes a joke. Jumba makes a joke about like, well, how'd you think we got here?
Yeah,
like, almost as if like they knew they had to do this major change in the story, and then they were like, you know what, like, okay, it even seems convenient that they just happen to have a ship we didn't use, but screw it, let's just clearly they got here somehow, they landed, and we'll even make a little nod to us saying that like, yeah, of course it's here. Why wouldn't we use a spaceship? But yes, that is a wild thing about like living, while it was happening, because like, this movie came out, I think June of 2002. 9/11 was not even a year at this point.
Did it come out on June 26th?
June 16th. Oh. No, June 21st.
Okay.
June 16th is when it was the Hollywood premiere. June 21st is the official.
Because as we know, June 26th is Stitch Day.
Missed it by that much.
Oh my god.
Sorry. But yes. But yes. So the way they had to scramble to fix that ending, change that ending is remarkable. And also at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, but the ending works still. At the end of the day, you don't need to. It's almost like they had to need like, oh, we have to do this big spectacle ending, and here it's like, no, you don't.
They do, and they do it close enough. You know, when you if you go back and watch it, because you'll see there are beats that they did still, because there's like a beat of like Gantu looks behind him and sees it's in the film, sees Stitch's head pop out, or Lilo sees it, Stitch's head pop out, and then he jumps over. It's all very like similar. Yeah. There's a gag in it where the deleted scene where Pleakley is calling Sky Mall or whatever, like on the airplane phone, and he's like asking like some stupid question about pots and pans. Like it's like he just is so excited to be in an airplane. But yes, so they do. Stitch manages to get up to the ship and save Lilo.
And how does he do that? Might I add?
He like blows up a tanker, right?
He blows the tanker into a volcano. And saves a frog while doing it, might I add. So
that was his first friend on Earth.
Big moment.
The frog.
The little frog. Okay, honestly, I love the image so much of Stitch in full alien mode with his blasters, pointing his little blasters at that frog.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite images of all time. He's so scared. It's a little frog.
So, basically the
he gets up onto the ship.
And the councilwoman shows up finally.
Yeah.
You know, taking Stitch away. And what's great about the scene, is that, like, you know, she's talking and then Stitch goes like, excuse me, essentially. He says, excuse me, and she's like, yeah, wait, what?
World's most polite alien.
Like, this is not the thing that made it said something so awful that it threw up one of my councilmen. Like, one of my councilmen like threw something up. He literally is like the complete opposite of who he was in the beginning of the film. And he's like so polite. He's like, hi, excuse me, can I just say bye to them?
And
really
and he's like, my name's Stitch, and she's like, oh, okay, good.
You have a name?
Yeah.
It's such just perfect beats for Stitch's character, because it's like it's being, hey, excuse me, sorry, really quick, can I say goodbye to these lovely people before I leave? And then you could take me away. It's fine. I understand. I'm bad. But can I just say goodbye to them? They've been so great to me. And, you know, and she's very much like, what the fuck is happening right now?
And then the part where she's like, who are they? And he's like, this is my family. It's little and broken, but still good.
Yes.
I'm like,
still good.
It's still good. That also broke me as a small little child.
Yeah. And yeah, no, like, you know, we actually go touch back on Lilo buying him getting him officially from the shelter. So
I paid $2 for him.
Technically, they have rights to him or have property to him, and she's like, well, I still. And so basically, the cute ending is that they're like, okay, fine, okay, well, he still has to pay for his crime, so he has to still be in exile. I guess his sentence can be here. Yeah.
This seems like prison enough.
Yeah.
Does she? I can't remember. Does she say Hawaii specifically or Earth?
I think Earth.
Hold on.
Yeah, you want to look at the scene? Yeah.
Let me fact check myself. Let me just replay that moment in the movie. Hold on. I'm fast forwarding.
20 minutes later. I'm sorry, I got caught up.
Here, she says here.
She says here.
Here. All right.
Okay.
So
because I will say, if you count some of the sequel TV shows as canon, he does leave Hawaii. He does break that exile.
Well, here could have meant Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Jumbo and Pleakley are still with him while he's in different areas. So they're holding up their end of the bargain.
Yeah, they're holding up their end. They're doing their job.
Man, my memory is so good. Sorry, I'm just proud of myself. I just fact-checked myself for that scene, and I was correct. She does say here.
Okay, cool. So yeah.
All right.
Proud of how smart I am. I remember this movie.
I had never a doubt.
I'm just like, Steph, have you seen all the Stitch sequels and like the show or no?
I own the Xbox video game.
Oh, I have a really good memory of playing that game at Innoventions.
Oh my God.
When Innoventions was not, they didn't know what to do with it. So they just put whatever video game that they just released into like a little testing area that you could just run up and play.
Innoventions in Disneyland?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Now Innoventions is nothing. It doesn't exist anymore. But they had some good ideas there. House of the Future was kind of neat.
Yeah.
But before that, they were like, well, we got all this empty space. Can we promote something? I think they even did the Stitch meet and greet in there for a little bit.
I think they for a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was neat. But yeah, the video, I never owned it myself, but because I didn't have an Xbox until way later. Mm-hmm. But it
also came out on PlayStation, so just saying.
I remember playing it there and it was very fun. I remember thinking this is a great idea, honestly.
I'm a little bummed because like when I went to Disney World a couple years ago, I thought because there was the Alien experience, Alien Encounter,
yes,
which turned into the Stitch Encounter.
Stitch's Encounter, yeah.
And I was so excited to go check out Stitch's Encounter, only to find out they reskinned it again, and it became a Monsters Inc. Thing.
Huh.
And I'm like,
weird.
It's neat, but I'm like, I wanted to meet Stitch. But whatever.
When I went there, it was Stitch's Alien Encounter.
Okay.
And even I was like, this is weird. It was like. This is kind of weird.
I have never met Stitch.
Wow.
I know.
I'm
sorry.
And I likely never will.
You never know.
I mean, it'll have to happen not in America.
They should build a Disney park in Canada. That would be good, actually.
Actually, yeah, I would support that.
It'd be better than where they're building it now.
Yeah, this could be where Frozen is.
Yeah. You could do the North American Frozen could be over there.
Yeah.
I would be more than cool with that.
Yeah.
Do Frozen Land. Everything is.
You know what? This is slightly off topic, but this is my rare opportunity to talk to a Canadian about this. So I went to Epcot.
We have each other's numbers, right?
I know, but this is so much more entertaining than its content.
Okay.
So I went to Epcot, and there is, of course, a Canada section at Epcot.
Mm-hmm. Jordan has informed me.
What did Jordan tell you about Canada Epcot?
Just that they have one.
That's it. Okay.
I was like, okay, I didn't expect her to go in. I was like, what? I
went in.
Flabbergasted with what's in. Oh, you went in. Okay.
Absolutely.
What's in there?
Because I actually did go to Canada when I was a kid. So they did like a bunch of like, it was like a lot of like totem poles.
Okay, yeah. So Native American art.
And their big snack their big snack they're pushing was maple popcorn.
What?
Maple kettle popcorn.
What?
I think if I remember,
maple flavored kettled popcorn.
You don't eat that every day?
Is that something you guys don't have all the time?
I think
Eat America.
Just a random Epcot fact that I remember. I think when they first built Epcot in the Canada section, the totem poles were like very inaccurate, like to the culture. They were like so inaccurate that they were like, they've changed them. So, like they were like embarrassingly bad.
I won't stress.
I thought you were going to tell me that like they were serving something like a local Native American dish or snack or something.
Nope.
And I was like, preparing myself to be told like about some beautiful, beautiful cuisine you sampled.
Nope. Maple popcorn.
And
to be fair, there is poutine, but I mean, like, that's kind of a given.
What? Who invented popcorn? Let's do this.
There was Orville Redenbacher.
I want to say there is popcorn everywhere. It is a theme park, so
yeah. Okay, it is an indigenous, was cultivated domestically by indigenous people, but the true inventor of popcorn, according to the internet, is regarded as a white dude in Chicago.
Oh, great. Well.
Now we know.
Now we know.
So yes, the film ends with Stitch gets to stay.
Yeah.
With his Ohana.
Mm-hmm.
And I still love the credits sequence where they're showing the photos and little snippets of their life over like the course of a year. The Thanksgiving, the Christmas. Mm-hmm. Jumba is Santa, of course.
They make the house, but make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
And very, just everything wraps up nicely.
Yeah. Steph, anything you want to
add? Yeah, it's like the sequences at the end, like when it shows them just in photographic form, where we see them like throughout their limited future. Mm-hmm. We get to see them as a family, and I just think it like wraps it up. It's so family coded to be like, here's a montage of pictures of them all very happy. It's like it's a cliche sort of ending, but you're like, yeah, but they earned it. Mm-hmm. They earned it. Out of everyone, they definitely earned it. So I don't know. It's such like the music is perfect. Everyone's perfect. I don't know what else to tell you. We covered a lot. We did cover a lot. And like, honestly, one day I'll write a whole essay that will be far too long about it. But I think we have now covered. I think they'll have an idea what this movie is about.
Just an inkling. Okay. So why don't we go ahead? We'll take a little pause. We'll come back, get bit, and then we'll hit the surf again. And then,
I gotta get a coffee refill.
Yeah.
I finished my 2 coffees.
Yeah. It's actually probably my time to get my Hawaiian coffee that I do have at the house.
Yes, you do.
What's that?
Of course you do.
So we'll take a little break and we'll come right back.
To all who come to this happy podcast, welcome.
Anna Musings are your musings.
Here age relives fond memories of the past.
And here you may savor the challenge and promise of the future.
Hi, I'm David.
And I'm Kayla.
And if it wasn't readily apparent from that, we're huge nerds about Disney. That's why we're doing the Anna Musings podcast.
Once a month, we'll sit down and talk about a film in detail from the Walt Disney Animation Studios filmography, covering them in chronological order, from Snow White to Moana and beyond.
To Moana and beyond!
Sweetie, we're not doing Pixar yet. We'll do that after.
And that's gonna be a long time coming. Anyway, if that sounds up your alley, come join Kayla and I, and maybe a guest or two, as we explore the Disney animated canon, film by film.
With the hope that it'll be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
Ooh, nicely said.
Don't thank me, thank Walt.
All right, while we're traveling on this Hawaiian roller coaster ride here, we're surfing, surf's up. Let's check out the Patreon, huh? Patreon.com/nothingnew. I bet there's some great things going on over there. Is it as good as Elvis music? You'll have to listen and find out. Here's a little sample.
My brain's like, so where's...
Yeah. They never explained until this episode where was Lilo.
Yeah. Does Lilo not exist
and because
in
the show, it aired in Japan in 2011.
Yeah.
It actually got an American airing in 2013.
Yeah. No, Disney Channel did show it.
Yeah, it had an English dub,
mm-hmm.
Which is how we watched it. It's just on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know why all the good stuff's on YouTube.
What? The 7D is only on YouTube? Am I going to watch Buzz Lightyear's and the Star Command on YouTube?
Probably.
It's a bummer because I actually like them.
That might be on Internet Archive, honestly.
Probably.
That's another great resource for this kind of stuff. That's like modern lost media that like...
Yeah. Aloha, we are back. And yes, you can get that exclusive episode on Patreon for just $1 a month. $1 a month gives you years and years and years worth of episodes exclusively on Patreon. We have other reviews. We have other comparisons, movies we've done. We've had
our pitches for remakes.
We've done we took us way too long to do eventually a top 10 list, which is wild to me to realize that. And so much more. But if you the lovely listener and one of our patrons want to control the show just for a month, for $25, you can tell us what to cover. And I always stress, we had some great episodes that came out of this. We've had King Kong, we've had Power Rangers, we've had was
Muppets and Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Muppets and Mickey's Christmas Carol. That was a Patreon push paid. So you can tell us. And there's so many remakes that we still haven't covered. There's so many. Look, there's some couple Disneys we still haven't even touched upon yet, too.
We got to space them out.
We do got to space them out. But if you were like, I want to hear Cinderella now, you can. You can control it. So that is our Patreon. But before we go back to the main episode, Stephanie, where can the folks find you?
Unfortunately, people can still find me online. I pretty much go by the username @StaffGurk everywhere. You can find me now back to streaming on Twitch. You can find me on Instagram. I love the blue sky. I habituate other social media platforms, but very discreetly for various reasons, probably because I don't want to actually be on all the platforms. But I am. You can find me anywhere if you really want to find me. But other than that, the one project that I do want to talk about, though, that is not directly attached to my name is a lovely project I have called Comic Industry Insiders. It's a podcast that looks at the comic book industry from those behind the scenes in comics, from people who work in marketing and sales, who are the publishers, the CEOs, the supplier staff, everyone from multiple angles, to people who own the comic book stores themselves. We give them a platform to talk about the latest issues in the comic book world and what they've done and how they see the industry going. It's also it's very educational. There's lots to learn, but it's also so fascinating if you've never really touched on the industry from the inside. It's under the Prana Direct Market Solutions umbrella, and you can find it on YouTube and pretty much any podcast platform anywhere. And I hope you guys take a listen and then let me know what you think. I'm its producer, so I listen to every second of that show, filter it, edit it, get rid of all the funny jokes so it's super nice and dry for your viewing pleasure.
And you keep those for yourself.
And then I keep the jokes for myself in a small editing room that I just listen to alone and giggle. And that's it. That's me.
Excellent. Okay.
My boss is going to love that I did that.
Okay, so 23 years later, we are back to this story yet again. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut to
which my ad is the 20th. No, sorry, is the 20th anniversary of Stitch is a Glitch too. Stitch has a glitch.
So obviously, of course, there have been other, TV shows, animated sequels, etc. I mean, one thing I always get mildly confused by is Stitch the movie, which is not to be confused with that one you mentioned, Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch is a Glitch. And then Leroy and Stitch.
That's the last one.
That's the last one.
That also serves as a conclusion for the show.
Right.
Yeah.
And then of course, other, various other shows, including the one you may have already listened to in our Patreon. So, the Stitch has been proven to be pretty popular after the slow success of the original film. It did well, but it eventually became okay. Eventually 20 years later, there's a generation of folks who love the character, love that movie, and is their staple Disney film, as heard by Steph earlier in the episode. So in that regard, in terms of remaking movies, I can see where Disney wants to find a way to make the extra cash and to make the quick buck, which usually is sometimes the feeling of these animated remakes. And I can see them looking at Lilo and Stitch and go, that one, that makes sense. We can do that one. So to be clear,
and I think, when this originated, it was, I think, going to be just straight to Disney Plus.
Weren't they all?
Yeah. And they decided to send it to theaters, which I mean, I like.
I'm so glad I refused to play for Disney Plus.
I mean, I'm glad that they are re-engaging with theaters, because there was that period of time, very close to after COVID, where it was like, well, no one's going to theaters. We have to put everything streaming instantly.
Right.
And so, but seeing a movie in theater, I love going to the movie theaters.
Yeah.
I love to see movies there. But there is something even more special with something like this, where it's like, it's a family film. Like, you take the kids. It's a whole outing. It's a thing.
I will say this is like, I actually decided this weekend, like, I kind of want to go with my family to watch this one. So initially it was just going to be, my mom likes Disney movies, so it's usually me and her watching. Like, we watch Snow White together.
Okay.
She likes the animated, she likes live action ones, and then I figured, my nephews would probably want to go, and then my nephew's fiance probably will want to go too. So then it blew into us 5, and then my sister and brother-in-law were like, "Oh, actually, we're free that night." Like, "Oh, okay." So it became all 7 of us. So it was kind of nice to just sort of all go and watch the movie together as a family in a theater packed with other families, other kids or people around our age. I think there was a very clear, interesting look at the audience where it was like little kids who clearly love Stitch, and adult Disney folks, or just adults who grew up with Stitch, wearing Stitch merch and hoodies and whatever. So it's very clear in the 23 years since the original film, it's like, the Stitch is as popular as it in the States as it was in now every other country, that caught on very early to the character. So that was kind of still nice, and I'm glad that we were able to see it together, and I had a good time with my family watching it. I have thoughts on the movie, of course, but at the time, but just as a family night, that was nice. I agree. I'm an AMC A-list person, so this was one of my 4 for the week. Criminy. But yeah, no, it's been good. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it I was enjoying the time with the fam. But this movie had an interesting production history. Originally set to announced in 2018 that they're going to do a live action film. One of the directors was initially in talks was John M. Chu.
That's
that makes sense.
That makes sense. But I'm also kind of glad he went and did Wicked.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad he did those and all the other things that he's working on.
Yeah. No. But it makes sense, and I'm kind of appreciative that he went ahead and they were trying to at least look for an Asian American director. No, to be fair, I think John M. Chu was also offered Mulan, and I'm sitting on, there are other directors. Like, he's good, but there are other.
Yeah. The crazy thing about John M. Chu is that I don't think of it's like, I'm not like, it's an Asian story, it needs to be him.
Yeah.
I think of, is there dancing? Yeah, get that man in there.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Is there any kind of musical element? Get him the fuck in there.
Yeah.
He knows how to direct a musical. He knows how to direct a dancing movie.
That's his strength.
Is there choreography? Get him in there.
Yeah, no, that's the best thing. I'm not saying he couldn't have done a good Lilo and Stitch, but just saying his strength, as clear by the first success of Wicked, is a musical.
Well, I'm even going back to the step-ups. Come on.
Oh yeah, of course.
This man knows how to film a dance scene.
I can do a
even
whole
the sweeping stuff going on in Crazy Rich Asians. It was like he knows how to set the stage.
Yeah.
Give him something big.
But they went ahead and moved on with the director of the film, who is Dean Fletcher Camp, who directed Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Mm-hmm. I love that movie. I don't know if you got around to seeing it.
My controversial take is I don't love that movie.
That's fair.
Steph, are you familiar with Marcel the Shell?
I have no idea what that is.
That is a movie.
That was where I was when I watched the movie. It was a known character that I did not know.
It was an internet character that it was kind of it was an online series of videos that caught on to kind of a very niche audience that they eventually turned into a feature. I've never really watched a lot of those videos, but I was aware of them. I love the movie personally. I think it's very I think it's a very lovely, sweet looking movie with a great voice performance from Jenny Slate and Isabella Rossellini. And I saw it in the theater.
Wow.
it was interesting. I saw it at the Alamo Drafthouse in LA at a free screening that was meant for families, but I just went in. And it had a bunch of kids there, which I,
You're a family of one.
I was a family of one. I am my own Ohana. So no, I like that movie. I love that movie personally, but I won't go here into like why you didn't, but I will say
it has nothing. And I think the thing is, it had nothing to do with this guy as a director.
Yeah.
It was just the story just didn't hit me right. I was like, oh, I wasn't into the story at all.
Okay,
but so knowing that he was doing Lilo and Stitch, I was like, oh, I guess I see it.
Yeah,
I see like the idea there, where it's like, if we can have like a very, it's a more low stakes. He knows how to work with CGI characters, that kind of thing. Like, okay, great. It reminded me of the Pete's Dragon situation.
Right, 100%. Another A24.
Another thing where it's like, yes, it is an artsy director, art house director, someone who's worked small.
Yep.
We can give them a bigger budget.
Yep.
We can trust them because they'll want to show off. They'll want to do good.
Yep.
And here we go. I think that kind of thing, if Disney keeps doing that, it's going to pay off.
Right.
And so I'm glad that they did it, even though I didn't like Marcel the Show with shoes on. I'm like, yeah, good. Give this guy this chance.
And it kind of makes, like you said, like the film itself, you can go, oh, I can see how that correlates to doing a Lilo and Stitch movie. And one thing I will admit that like, they also hired one of the writers that's credited in the film is Chris. I'm gonna butcher his Hawaiian name terribly, and I'm so sorry, but Chris Kinaka Alnali Kalani Bright. He is a Hawaiian filmmaker, so I want to really stress that I'm glad they hired a Hawaiian filmmaker to work on the script while they're making this movie. It at least gives, it should hopefully translate to having somebody who at least like has that experience to work on the script and at least be there to maybe hopefully keep things on track while also delivering emotionally on the story. Hopefully that's the hope, but I always at the same time, it's like, yeah, if it's a story that's set in Hawaii or set in another country, it's always, or just whatever, it's just like always best to kind of hire, or it's ideal to hire a writer who has that experience to try to like make it feel as authentic as possible, because a lot of times these people are not brought in, and sometimes you can feel it. It's just a way to kind of like just make it feel, hopefully they can deliver and make it feel like, oh, okay, that seems correct, especially if you grew up in like Hawaii, and maybe you can respond to what they're doing. Did they accomplish that? Again, I can't speak for that because that's not my upbringing, but I've heard some interesting takes online since the movie has come out. So we'll dive into that in a minute, but the movie starts exactly the same way. I want to point that out.
This is a one of those, like, they stay so close to the main plot line.
Yeah.
But then where they diverge is where it gets really interesting. I think the way that I would sum it up just would be that everything that they change, they're trying to answer a question that you might have from the original. They're trying to go like, oh yeah, that didn't make sense. Okay, this makes sense. And sometimes it actually doesn't make that much more sense.
I agree. Yeah,
but at least it's like, it's a funny thing of like, they're reacting without actually trying to make it work. They're okay, we're going to shift this over this way. Okay, we're going to, oh yeah, that didn't make sense. Okay, we're going to, this character's actually this and they're over there.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay. But mostly the same film.
It's even the opening where we talked about the heavy sci-fi stuff into the hard cut into Hawaiian culture. It is pretty much done nearly identical.
Which I want to point this out much in the same way of like saying, the live action Lion King. You have a live action Lilo and Stitch, and the first 15 minutes are CGI alien characters. It's like very live action, sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'll argue this is more live action than Lion King.
But I just think it's so funny that it's like, yes, live action. Okay, we got the CGI characters up. Great.
60% of this movie is live action.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think they sold it for if they ever want to do live action alien movies in the future, we have the technology. They did it for Lilo and Stitch. I want more, this is as someone who's very like pro alien, like show me those different weird body types. Like I want you to go nuts. So I'm looking forward to a future where it's just where we do another sci-fi film and it's 99% alien and they all look like that.
But yeah, essentially, structurally, it's pretty close to the original film, especially this opening. Let me just go ahead and bring up Chris Sanders returns as he should.
Yes.
As Stitch. It's his character. It would have felt weird if they didn't bring him back. And I'm kind of
honestly,
yeah,
I wouldn't have put it past them to try.
Oh, sure.
And for them to quickly realize like how much it didn't work, unless they had found someone who could do an exact replica of Chris Sanders' Stitch voice.
Yeah.
Then it wouldn't have happened. Like,
right.
Now, it was never going to work in any other voice. The character is so him.
Yeah.
What if they got Vin Diesel? Now hear me out. Look, we love him as Groot, but also recall he was the Iron Giant.
You're putting Vin Diesel in the hear me out cake.
I cannot say no more strongly. But also you have to understand those were famous roles where he was also not, he said one line.
Yes. Can you imagine the internet losing?
She has already too much vocabulary for him.
Because Stitch is all about Ohana. And Fast and Furious is about family.
Right.
I might consider him for the sequel if they want to bring back Gatu.
Well, what they should it should just be a crossover. And if they wanted to do
Fast and Furious in space, like absolutely, I'm there.
That's funny. I would watch that. Like Lilo, like Stitch in a drag race in space. Let's do it.
Yes.
I will definitely say, Mia, Kulaha, who played
Maya Kealoha,
who plays Lilo. I'm gonna straight up and say it. No, perfect. I think she was great. I thought she there's Lilo. She's right there.
Yes, absolutely. I also was going to say, I was like, if you had anything negative to say about her, I was like, I will fight you. Like, I have 0 notes on her. I was like, perfect. Like, the amount of times where I was like, that is a child. That is just a child. Like, my God. Like, she's not acting. That is a child.
And like, not kidding you, me and my family were like watching her and going like, she looks and kind of made us realize she looks and acts like one of our cousins' like daughter. And like I won't say her name, but she looks so much like her and acts kind of like her that we were like, oh, she's Lilo. That's the thing. We realized my cousin's daughter's Lilo.
Oh.
Then her brother Stitch, because he's like this little. She has a little brother who's like 2 years younger than her, and he's like this little wild animal, and we're like, oh, he's Stitch.
Wow,
that's perfect.
I also
no, she was perfect.
Yes, I thought she was great.
I thought
Stitch was perfect.
Sydney Elizabeth Agudong as Nani was great too.
I agree.
She brought
she's great.
Like a new depth to that character.
Yes.
Which the script was doing it as well, but I think she was able to portray it in a very believable way.
I think I 100% agree.
She was in a whole other movie though. Like she did such a good job. She was living, I'm an older sister burdened with a younger sister playing mom when I shouldn't be, and like all that stuff. Like she was acting the hell out of that role. She did such a good job that when the Stitch stuff came up, I was like, I believe how fucking frustrated she is right now with this chaos creature.
She is. No, I so agree, and I think you're right. I'll give it like that's one of the strengths of the writing I'll give to the new film is Nani feels like an 18-year-old out of her depth.
Yes.
In a way that like the original film kind of teetered on it addressed enough, but I feel like it's more obvious here. Like the scene of her,
she looks young.
She looks young.
So young.
The bit
and like
where,
I think the actress was 26, which I thought at first was like too old, but like she played 18 so well.
Like the scene of where she's like not even just giving Tia Carrere, who again, that's great that they got Tia Carrere to come back and actually play the social worker, which I thought was a great idea. Giving her like hot Capri Sun as tea, and then like
yeah, that was great.
But in like even I like the little bit where she's like throwing shit away and she's drinking a Capri Sun herself. I'm like almost like a visual, not like she's still a kid.
Yeah,
yeah.
But no, I love that bit where and then right when she's leaving, Tia Carrere's like, "That was Capri Sun you warmed up, right?" She's like, "Yeah, I figured." And
I like that she doesn't know how to cook. Like that is.
100%. Like
that's me as an adult.
She feels like a real like frustrated 18, 19-year-old, and exactly like the character should be. I have no notes on these three. I think Sanders returns it, and he obviously it's his character. He clearly understands it. But Lilo's actor and Nani's actor, like just perfect. They were absolutely perfect. They stepped out of the original film, and in Nani's case, added to the character. I think that's great.
I will say the writing on this, I think it was more because it's live action. They knew they needed to have a little more focus on the human element.
Yeah.
It couldn't just be a cartoon. But even the original is not just a cartoon. But like they knew they had to elevate. They had to have a little higher stakes. They had to show a little more reality of living in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I was like, everything, all of those elements I enjoyed.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, this is kind of what you need to do if you're going to do this kind of a remake.
Exactly. Also, kind of just get it out of the way. Jason Scott Lee, who voiced David, does come back, has a cameo in this movie as the manager who works at the luau that Nani and David work at. So that's cool. That's a cute way of
Tim.
Yeah, that was a cute way of bringing him back. And Amy Hill, who she voiced like the old lady who owned like the groceries in the original Phantom. She's the neighbor, Tutu.
Which that was like, I liked that added character.
I do
so
too.
much.
Me too.
Because it felt, again, the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
I think you would have an older neighbor that would try and help.
Yeah. And Amy Hill is kind of one of those underrated character actors that
Can I? Okay.
I kind of I'll get to that in a second. I know where you're kind of leaning towards. But I think she brings a really great energy as an additional character to the film in a world that makes sense, that kind of adds to Nani's world and Lilo's world. But she does, I guess we can sort of maybe start talking about this. She does provide what I'm seeing is the biggest debate online about the film's ending. We'll go to that maybe in a little bit, but like, Steph, you want to go ahead? And I think you're kind of bursting on this.
I've been wanting to say something for a while. So this is where like my problem falls with the movie is that this is why it worked so well without the addition of those characters. Like on one hand, like you kind of have to talk about how David's role has also changed to more supportive friend in this aspect as well. And I believe Tutu is his mom.
Grandma, I think.
Grandma.
Because it's implied that they're living together.
Yes.
So it might be mom and son. I'm not entirely sure, but at the end of the movie it didn't imply that they live together. So David has to be included in these changes. I have no notes with her as a character. I just don't think I think she took away what a lot of the first movie was about. And that was where like Nani was trying to raise Lilo alone. She didn't have a support system. She didn't have that community anymore. She was trying to do everything on herself. And it wasn't until she started to like realize Ohana, her family, these strange creatures, they all become a part of her support system at the end of the movie. And that's how that she's able to like keep Lilo and like continue to do all these things. That's it. Which is why I think Tutu's addition to the movie then doesn't make sense, like, because then it takes away from Nani's struggle a little bit and makes it easier because it's like, oh, you have that still supportive neighbor, you have that one supportive friend who wants to help you. It's like, okay, so Nani does have support.
That is
whereas
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, which in the end is like, okay, well then like you should be coordinating a little bit better, like, or there should have been more of a struggle where like Nani is like trying to do everything on her own and isn't accepting Tutu's help. Like if they had like an argument where Tutu was like you need to let me take over a little bit and you need to let like me help and be that support system. But instead we see Tutu like actively like babysitting Lilo and like doing all these things. It's like, okay, well, then it begs the question, even to the end of the movie where they make that big decision. It's like, well, why weren't you doing some of the things before to help stabilize Lilo a little bit if you were just right next door the whole time?
And that is actually a fair point. And I something I wanted to point out that like while watching it, that stuff didn't really occur to me until like I started thinking about it. Because I think Amy Hill is such a great performer that like I got caught up in like, oh yeah, I like her. I like the character. I like her performance. I love how she comes in with her like big old like kind of dune buggy thing.
I love that.
And it's
give me a granny on a quad any day.
100%. And so it's one of those like there's so many charming, likable things, but you're totally right. Once you start thinking what the story is, it does allow too many like the drama should be focused like on that, right? The drama should be focused on Nani thinking she doesn't, that Nani is alone in this. And if you were to include this character, you're right. The note probably should have been more like, she's not accepting Tutu's help. Even though like Tutu is there, and maybe
they're not acting as a family. They're not acting as a joint unit. Yeah.
She's already part of Lilo's life, like you said. Like she's actually the one there at the animal shelter scene, not Nani. And so that sort of like does answer the question like, well, why are you worried about, you have like a strong support with Tutu already and possibly David if David is like his grandma and shit. So why are we fighting
does Lilo
this?
moving in next door change things other than like Lilo not being able to live in her own house?
Which is still going to be there.
Yeah.
Because as he pointed out at the end of the movie. So it does.
I mean, it'll be sitting empty.
Yeah.
Because Nani is also not there anymore. Yeah. It was, destroyed, and then they were rebuilding it, but then Nani's away at school anyway. So
they, that really, that is like one of those major things where you go through the movie and then now you replace Nani with Tutu in so many scenes. Like the dog adoption scene, we lose that sister moment. We lose that sister moment of oh, can I borrow $2? That's gone.
The borrow the $2. The fact that like Nani was like, fuck, I'll try anything to get Lilo to like work with me here. Right. And like a dog is like very much coded as like, you have your shit together, you have a dog.
Here's the thing. I almost feel like what's happening with a lot of the script is they like you kind of brought up, Andrew, is like they try to answer certain questions from the original movie that maybe some people might have had, but also in doing so they also overcomplicated a lot of, and which is such a problem. I keep seeing
like Tutu. If you wanted Tutu to be I have to go back to this. If you wanted Tutu to be the responsible adult that will foster Lilo, don't have her be the one that gets Lilo a dog and then puts it on Nani and then is not present at all to help take care of this dog.
It's a
it's such like a sabotage granny vibe. Like I fucked you. I get Lilo now.
But totally fair, actually. No, but it's a thing where it's like, because we've sat through so many of these Disney live action remakes specifically, that so many times they try to overcomplicate a simple question. It's like, well, why is this?
Beauty and the Beast is like the biggest example where they tried to answer, why are so many people in the house when it gets changed into objects? It's like, we didn't need.
What was the answer?
He was having a party. Like, it was just like,
oh, okay.
And it was like some of the people, and then they also were like, well, why doesn't the townsfolk know about the castle? And it's like, oh, where there's a mist of forgetting. It's like,
oh no.
Or even just addressing.
I'm so glad I did not see this.
So we're addressing Snow White that we did recently, where it's like, there's like an apple picking festival that the town did. That's why Snow White's so attached to the idea of an apple. What the fuck? No one asked for that. Like here, it's not as bad as that, but it's still what it does. It bogs it down more.
The worst example: you put a pin in it. Let's take that pin out. The way that Stitch gets his name in this movie.
Yep. he rips he takes a big old rip into Nani's upholstery in the car, and she's like, God, and she yells like, oh man, I have to stitch that later. And then that's when Lilo goes, Stitch, that's his name. And I'm like, no, I don't need that.
Yeah, that was a dumb moment. It's like the perfect moment was honestly like
a kid,
her just being like, Stitch.
Yeah.
Just being like, that's his name. Like, I have no reasonings because I'm a 6-year-old child.
This is I'm that guy who actually really hates the scene in Solo that explains
so bad
that how does he get Solo in his last name, and it's one of those I never asked that question. That was his fucking name.
They do it for so many characters and names in film, and it's my least favorite thing because it's always like, oh, they saw an item that reminded them of their last name, and then the writers will go out of their way to be like, oh, your last name is Dingleberry? Well, one day you were shitting in the woods, and in front of you, there was this berry. And that's how I came up with your last name.
I think I would have rather preferred if your just name is Dingleberry. I'll live with that. I didn't know there was a whole trauma connected to it.
They always have to come up with something ridiculous, and this was one of those moments, and that's where I was like, guys, this is why you don't go off script.
Yeah. You don't there are a couple times they were trying to answer a question where it's like, oh, it's not too bad. But this is one where I'm like, no, because a 6-year-old thinks that's a name. And why? I don't know. I'm not 6.
Look, let's just be glad that they didn't have it Jumba named Stitch. It would say, I'm going to stitch together all these DNAs. Stitch.
Yeah.
Like it'd be
fuck no.
If they were gonna explain
Lilo's name.
Yeah, at least let it be Lilo still was the one. We have to be grateful that the remakes don't destroy everything.
Talking about the character they overcomplicated, I think they overcomplicated the Cobra Bubbles.
Oh yeah,
100%. That was like, why did you do that?
Yeah,
they did so. Yeah,
when he wasn't when Tia Carrere showed up as the social worker, I went, uh-oh. That was like a red flag. I was like, oh shit, what are they gonna do with Cobra Bubbles? I don't like this
because they can't not put him.
Yeah,
I was to the point almost where like maybe he's not there, like because they kind of made this whole like they got rid of his story. First off, they didn't make him a CIA worker who's a social worker. He's going undercover because he's tracking down Stitch, and they got rid of the whole like alien department of the CIA and whatever. They completely erased that from the storyline that we already have dealings with aliens, and which I thought worked perfectly.
Again, we talked about it. It was a wonderful tie.
The mosquito joke is gone.
Yeah. Like they mentioned it,
the
but it's
wonderfully
not a
timed
joke.
mosquito joke.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
And then all the other stuff, it's like, well, why aren't people concerned, or why isn't the government stepping up? And it's like, well, no, they know we're a protected planet. They have dealings with aliens before. That's why it's so laissez-faire that like, oh, there's like an alien spaceship in the sky and no one's blinking. It's like, well, yeah, because the government's got it under control. They're going to say it's something in the water or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's a weather balloon, don't worry.
Like first contact. Yeah. My bosses will never know. Like, okay. That part at the end where Cobra Bubbles is like, yeah, I'm not going to tell my boss. Mm-hmm. And we've already at this point have figured out that the red spaceship has been flying around in circles for a while now. And then when the Federation shows up in their giant ass fucking spaceship, we can all see it from the island of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And we're still on the train of thought that as long as Cobra Bubbles doesn't tell his bosses, they'll never know about the aliens.
Yeah, like what happened to the team that was with him where searching in the woods?
So, there's a bit in the movie where, again, it's overcomplicated. Like he has to now pretend to be the social worker that Tia Carrere.
It's not even good at it.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't need it, right? And here's where I realized that this is why this overcomplication doesn't make sense. Is that they're getting ready to kind of sadly take Lilo away, and there's Cobra there, and I'm going, why is he here again? Oh right, he's gonna get Stitch, but my brain's like, he's just waiting there as if he is waiting to take Lilo away from Nani, and I'm like, why are we doing this? No, this is
he's not sneaking around at night trying to kidnap Stitch,
which is what he probably should be doing. But instead, he's like, yes, I too am here to take you away from your sister. Because that is my job. Like, what is this? What is this? Courtney B. Vance.
It's so unnecessary. And like he also just doesn't carry the same weight because like Cobra Bubbles was very much a man who didn't look like he fit in, but also seemed very passionate about his work as a social worker. Like he was adamant, like in the movie, in the original, where he was like, "This is not safe for Lilo," blah blah blah. Like he ranted at Nanny, and Nanny deserved it.
You brought up a really good live action choice, which was Batista, and I wish to God it was. And look, Courtney B. Vance, not a bad actor, good actually. He was we had him in on the we talked about him in the Preacher's Wife episode, and oh my God, was he in The Mummy?
He was like the
Mummy?
Colonel or whatever.
I
forgot too.
Also, hey, happy Dark Universe Day.
Dark Universe Day.
Oh, guys, don't. I actually was really looking forward to that. I was rooting so hard.
It's like, well, we have to celebrate Dark Universe Day because that is in fact our first episode of the show is talking about
congratulations.
the Tom Cruise movie.
And the Dark Universe lives. Beyond all imagination.
Yeah.
They made it.
Do you realize, like, Dark Universe Day, which we joked on since 2017, which was May 22nd, the day they officially opened Epic Universe, Dark Universe was May 22nd, and I'm like, you guys took it back.
Someone working behind the scenes there had that in their calendar, and they said, "This is the day." They said, "We will make it right." So there was like the protector of the Dark Universe. It was like, we will take back the day.
My Harvey Bardem Frankenstein movie didn't happen, but we will own that day again.
Guillermo del Toro is beating us once again with another one of our own creatures.
It was just some poor social media aide who was like, "Oh, this is still saved in drafts. Might as well post it."
Oh my God.
But yes, Courtney B. Vance. He's a good actor, but yes, maybe not right for this role. Not as imposing.
Against his acting, it literally was just, I think, from a writing perspective, is like his role became so overcomplicated that they literally could have written him out, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, they fully could have Tia Carrere could have been the CIA agent. Like that is not a problem. Like if they're
and that would have been so cool to be like this whole time, like she was like reverse Cobra Bubbles.
Yeah.
I do like Tia's performance in this, and I think she does.
Oh no, she's amazing.
Yeah,
I clocked her right away for her role, and because I didn't know she was going to be in it, so I was surprised. Because I looked up nothing about this movie. Like I refused to watch trailers. I like closed my eyes during spots because I was like, I don't want to see how they're gonna ruin my child. So I came into this movie knowing absolutely nothing. So when she showed up, I was very pleasantly surprised. And I think she did a wonderful job. Like I wasn't like mad at her as a social worker, which in the original movie I was like, how dare you try to separate that as a kid. But she's much more sympathetic this time around.
I think that's what I like the scene where she's telling Nani, okay, look, here's 3 realistic things you can do. And if you can accomplish that, we'll be fine. I really love that. I love that.
Oh, I love that moment.
Yeah, exactly. Because it allows, like, you just, it's like, look, I'm trying my best, but also if you're not delivering on your half, I have to do this.
I think it also helps that she's not a white woman.
Yep.
That it was Tia in that role, because I think if it had been that, it very much would have been like white savior drama.
100%.
And opposed to like Tia in that role, it's like, no, I want to keep you guys together. Because I'm also motivated as well. And I understand racially how separating families is not good for anyone.
Exactly. Yes, agreed. I want to talk about what I think is probably the biggest miscasting in this entire movie.
I would say that there's 2, but yes.
I will say he's the second.
2?
I will say we'll get to
the second one almost I accept, but the first one is still very bad.
Okay. Here, I want to hear it.
All right. Okay.
I agree with
what's yours, Justin?
But...
All right. Okay. What's Zach Galifianakis doing in this movie?
Yeah, what the fuck, guys? Like,
he doesn't even look like he's happy to be there.
He's not happy. I'm not happy. He is not right for his voice isn't even the right octave.
No.
His voice needs to be deep. And I'm not saying he needs to do a terrible Russian accent.
Yeah,
he just he doesn't have his voice doesn't fit. And then also his voice doesn't fit. Like he can't. Who decided he was a voice actor?
Yeah.
He's not even doing like extreme voice things. Like I was expecting, like, we've seen Zach Galifianakis in shows and movies. He does things where he's like, oh, like he's like doing extreme. In this, he's like talking. Like he's not doing anything at all.
No, it's wild because it's like I didn't know he was in the movie till literally a month ago.
Wow, yeah.
And I was like...
I didn't know it was him until he turned human, and I was like, oh, fuck.
and I'm like, this was a guy who for a while was huge. He would have been all over the ad campaign we got Zach Galifianakis in this. They are hiding him.
Yeah.
They barely put him in the trailers. They barely talk about him. And I just think purely on the fact that like they watched this movie and went, Zach does not care about being in this movie.
But also I feel like that's their celebrity.
Yeah.
That's their celebrity casting right there, is because everyone else is pretty much like a minor character or relatively unknown.
Yeah.
So they're like, we need some celebrity status. So who's gonna play our Jumba? And it's him. And I'm like, honestly, I don't know who is worse, him or like the idea of Chris Pratt taking that role. Like it's the
same. But you, Andrew, apparently you have a second choice, and I might not hard disagree on this second choice.
Yeah.
When it was announced, when I heard that Billy Magnussen would be playing Pleakley, I just said no. Hashtag not my Pleakley. Like this is not. I was like, there's no way this man is going to do justice to Pleakley.
Yeah.
I'm a little won over by the movie. I thought he did okay.
Yeah.
I thought he did.
So I want to say this. I agree with you. Hashtag not my Pleakley. but to his defense, he is Pleakley for the sake of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he is not OG Pleakley. He is live action Pleakley.
Yeah.
And to that, I was like, because I actually took my nephew and my niece as well. My nephew's like 12. My niece is like 9.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire movie, I was just getting their feedback. And my niece was literally like, I don't like the new Jumba. Within like 10 seconds, it's like, Stitch is perfect. I hate Jumba. And then also when she's like, Pleakley's actually kind of funny. And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of won over by him too. Like he did a good job playing this new version of Pleakley. I was into it.
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I kind of low-key love it. Out of all the changes they did, which like Disney did not a lot of changes, but they did enough like story changes that I think they did to make it safer and less progressive. Like I feel like they're trying to like, oh, let's not anger tourists who go to Hawaii, so let's pull back that stuff. Let's pull back this stuff. Let's have it ending up in this way where everyone's happy and safe, and there's that no longer that like ethical argument. But the Pleakley choice I'm into. I was like, they got it. They had to change things a little bit. They had to make him a little bit more capable to deal with Jumbo being a villain. And then he did good.
They did, and especially,
or maybe it's just in standing next to Jumbo. I was like, buddy, you're saving this.
I think they allowed for this version of Pleakley to wear women's clothing. Like they got a little into that where I was like, okay, the spirit of Pleakley is here.
Yeah.
The spirit is there. And I don't know, maybe I'm just not a big fan of Billy Magnussen. I'm just like, I was like, why him?
Yeah.
I don't even know who else I
Billy
picked.
Magnussen in one other role, and that was that terrible heist movie called Lift.
Oh no.
My God.
Have you not seen this movie?
Is that a Netflix original?
It's Kevin J. Hart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is like the protagonist, and then it has the hot chick from Game of Thrones, which I know doesn't narrow it down.
I was like, wait, not that one. The other one.
I think I vaguely barely remember this one.
And he was like the genius sidekick with a Eastern European accent.
Yeah.
It may have been German.
He also showed up in Aladdin. in one scene for some reason, a character that they wanted to spin off. I don't know, whatever.
The only good thing about the Aladdin movie is that Jafar's hot.
There was two good things about the Aladdin movie. Jafar was hot and Genie got to have sex.
What? Okay, I didn't actually see the movie, by the way.
Okay. Oh no, this Genie fucked.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then and Billy Baxter was also one of the heavies. He was also one of the heavies in the Roadhouse remake that we discussed.
I think that's why I really don't like him, because they want to cast him as villains. And Roadhouse, he was a bad villain in Roadhouse.
Yeah, he was.
They cast him as villains and he just can't pull it off. So I was like, he can't pull off Bleakley. I was like, he can't pull off being a villain. He can't pull off Bleakley. Like, he can't pull off anything.
And then I'm like, yeah. I think we all kind of agreed.
He can do a lovable sidekick.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think this is kind of one of those, like, it's kind of, this is I love when, like, all three people are like when we are like, how do you feel about this? Oh, we all are on the same page on this.
Yeah. We were expecting such controversial things, and like, really, it's like, oh no, we all have the same opinion.
It's like, no, we're totally fine with this. Yeah, it's like, yep. Billy Baxter is peakly, shockingly entertaining, and Galifianakis is a terrible choice in this movie.
Yeah. He honestly was like, I couldn't tell if it was his acting mixed with the writing, but you can't have the exact same film and change and do such a big change, like change who the villain is and expect the movie to still work.
No, that the shift.
It's like you said, like there are scene for scene moments in this film, and the entire plot remains the same. The only thing is that they made Jamba the villain, and I'm like, but it doesn't work anymore.
He's not a, especially because it didn't help that Galifianakis just wasn't into the performance. Like his villain, the big finale where he's the bad guy, just sort of felt like underwhelming.
I can see them heading there from the start, because like right from when he shows up, he's not like he's not Dad Jumba that we all like know and love. He's low key proud of Stitch, and he's like, my creation got away, isn't he adorable? I made something that kills. He's so proud about that, and like is constantly just like so worried about being called evil genius, and it's cute. And then you have Zach in this new film who's just like muttering under his breath half the time that you can't even understand what the fuck he's saying, and he's talking so fast. He's trying to pull off like an evil Ryan Reynolds almost. And he's got like same annoying like pitch to his tone as well. And you're like, you are not an intimidating villain that would scare a child.
I had this thought where I think there is like a lot of our perception of Jumba comes from like the sequels. The idea that Jumba in the sequels is incredibly reformed. He is a very much a part of the family and very much a nice guy, or at least trying to kind of do the right thing. But this movie takes it too far into him just being a straight up villain. Because at least with the original, it was like, he calls himself an evil genius. You sense there's some of this like ethical unreliability. But you know, by the end, he is helping Stitch. Yeah. And in this one, it's like, there was never any of that. And also, Zach Galifianakis is doing nothing. So it kind of didn't matter.
He was very much a chaotic, neutral character. So it's like he's not doing anything with malicious intentions. He's just like, I want the role of genius, but with the science I want to do goes against the law. So I've just said that means I'm evil, I guess. Yeah. And it's more, and like, but he doesn't own being evil. He owns being a genius. That's that's all he wants.
He owns making, making the weird little characters.
Yeah.
Exactly. And going off of like stuff in the future films, but even by the end, we as a viewer have to believe that he is reformed and like won't turn on them and won't be evil.
Right.
So even by the end, it's like we see him and we're like, yeah, we trust that he's been reformed, because he wasn't that like full evil type character to begin with. But then they took that away in the new film, where they're just like, nope, he's scheming, he's bad, he's in it for himself. I was like, oh, like it took away from like his relationship with Bleakley, for example.
Yeah.
Because before it was
Well, no,
it would have been great for him to see, to like try to like lean into the couple vibes a bit to try to get away with it more.
Well, there's a bit in the movie where almost you feel a little bad for Bleakley. He was like, I thought we were getting closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when Jumba blows up the parents' room, it's like that's
the line.
Yeah, where it's like oh my god, like you really are heartless.
Yeah.
But not in a good way.
No.
Like not in a like I felt like I could understand why Lilo was like terrified and he was like, "Oh, you're so caught up on mementos." And I was like, "Yeah, but that shouldn't be the threat that what takes Lilo away, cuz she's going to be like focusing on Stitch, and I get what they were trying to do with the photograph to make it super important and everything, but I feel like that moment could have been done better, like more threatening.
Yeah.
Also, I do want to talk about Lilo a little bit in the film. The writing of Lilo, not the character herself. But they took away two important things. One, her love for photography as a photographer.
Yeah.
2, her ability to practice voodoo. Like, where was cursing her friends? That holding up the jar and being like, my friends need to be punished. Like, that was key core memory for me.
That's funny. There's another thing that goes throughout the entire film that I noticed right away, and I was like, oh, I think this is a choice they're making. So the not weapon exactly, but what Jumba has is a portal gun.
Right. Literally a portal gun.
Not a ray gun. And then when Stitch crash lands on the planet, he doesn't have his guns either, but he's always looking for a gun.
He doesn't use his blasters at all.
Yeah, he's looking though. Everything that looks like a gun, he wants to shoot.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that could be an interesting concept, except the movie kind of doesn't explore it. It's just kind of there and not in a way that makes any sense, except, oh, I guess they don't want anyone shooting. Like it's just like the movie, they take away that element of that. Yeah.
I actually do love the joke where they're shooting at him while he's in the truck.
Yeah.
And he sees like you said, he sees a cock gun and he's like, aha, you guys are dead. Pulls the trigger, and all it is just
the goo comes out.
The goo comes out, and it's like,
yeah.
And I'm like, and he's like,
that's a cute joke.
And he's like, what the hell is this?
And he finds the water gun at the bar.
Yeah.
That's a good joke too, because he's like he wants a gun, so he just starts shooting anything.
That's actually a cute scene with him and Lilo.
Yeah,
but I also like it took away the threat of the aliens as well, because they had blasters, they had guns, and no one had real guns like an American gun.
Yeah.
But they had their blasters, which also set them apart. But it's like that showed how precarious the situation was, because they're like, oh, we can't disturb the humans. We can't fire these blasters. So we need to use something like a net.
Yeah.
They had like a dart
We need to
gun.
use this because if we use blasters, it'll cause destruction and then we're in trouble, which made that final fight scene with Jumba like so much more threatening, because it was like, oh, he has a blaster that does damage, that does real damage now, and he's lost, he doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
It made everything more extreme when he started to open fire and made it scary.
Right.
Which I feel like they could have done a better job with in the live action, because he had I don't feel like the portal gun was a good choice either, because if he's supposed to be such a bad guy, he'd be fucking opening fire with his blasters, being like, this isn't going to kill Stitch, but it may knock him out. Boom.
And I also
he'd go
like,
nuts.
I also do feel like
it plays into the psychopathness of what they wanted his character to be.
And I will admit, I feel like, because we keep calling, look, it's not even called that, but we are calling it the portal gun because it functions just like the gun in Porto.
Yeah.
And I kind of don't really like that. I kind of feel like it's like you're stealing gags from something else.
Oh, it's not just stealing.
Yeah.
It's almost like they backtracked because they knew the ending they wanted.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, well, Nani has to go to school, not in Hawaii. Can we invent something that will allow her to still see Lilo?
Yeah.
Okay, just put that in the whole movie.
It felt very forced.
Yeah.
Yeah, the portal gun felt very forced.
I do.
And it's like, if you're trying to capture someone, an alien, I would not pick a portal gun to capture them.
No. And then they do the portal gag.
They do the portal gag.
Where you put one on top of another and Jumba gets stuck. Yeah, falling forever.
And the thing is, we know they have dart guns. We know they're just shitty shots with the dart guns. So it's like, why the portal gun?
Yeah. little shout out to, because we haven't mentioned her, but this is also my time to unpin this because it's part of Stitch Impossible. Hannah Whitingham is the voice of the Grand Councilwoman, and let me just say, A+ casting.
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. No notes. That's great casting. That's exactly you should. That's exactly the voice actor you should grab.
Maybe I sound insane right now. I thought I heard it was going to be Sigourney Weaver, which when she started talking in the movie, I went, well, that's not Sigourney Weaver.
I mean, look,
I like whoever it is.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a rumor or what. If I heard that, I don't know where that was.
Look, Sigourney would have obviously killed it, but I think Hannah is so good.
Yeah, because you need a British, like that's the whole thing. Or what? Is she Australian? She's British.
Yeah, she's British.
Yeah. Like you need that kind of regalness for this character.
Like again, if they
believe me, I felt it. I felt it hard. I was like, "You are a queen. Let me bow to like whatever you want, honey. I'm here for it. Like, funny. You want to blow Stitch up? Why not?"
It's so funny because like she doesn't get a human form, but honestly, if you were to do that, like yes, she would also look like Hannah Whitingham. And yes, again,
exactly.
And then of course for the Stitch Impossible, she was also in Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning.
Yes. She managed to nail out both films, which is why I believe Cobra Bubbles didn't return the original actor.
Because Ving's
he's in Mission Impossible. Yeah. Hannah pulled off both.
Yeah.
Ving would have been incredibly believable as a live action Cobra Bubbles.
I believe they designed him to look like Ving Rhames.
I know, but I mean, just even in the sense that...
Having seen a picture, I now believe it too. I didn't know what he looked like before.
At the age he is, if they were worried like, oh, he's too old. No. This is a man who's retired to be a social worker on Hawaii. Like, that's the character.
Yeah, Ving Rhames. I understand Ving Rhames.
I know.
Like he's
Cobra Bubbles is such a great character, and is such like his character alone is a joke. Because he doesn't fit being a social worker at all. But yeah, he's passionate about it, and he also stops aliens.
Yep.
And it's like it's sad that they took that away. Like it seemed like they had a good actor at least. Like even if he didn't have the physical appearance of a giant Cobra Bubbles, they took away from his character and kind of destroyed him and made him a boring CIA agent who didn't have character.
100%, and especially because of the fact that I know one of the running quiet jokes with the Mission Impossible series is that Ving does less physical stuff per film.
Yes.
And granted, because he physically can't. He actually his body just can't do it. And even though he's 66, it's like he just physically can't do it. His body's been sadly not been not been as great as it used to be. So that's why his character's doing a lot of sitting and computer stuff.
Yeah, they had a moment in one of the Mission Impossible films when
Rogue Nation.
Yeah, they were like. He's like, I can hack him. And it's like, you know how to hack? And he's like, I learned. It's like, yeah, like you're the hacker guy now. Whatever. Yeah.
Well, there's a bit in Rogue Nation.
I didn't know that about him.
Yeah, he can't. And that's the thing. Yeah, you can tell like he can't do any real. And he never did any to be fair.
I just fully believe that he took over the role as hacker. And I was like, no arguments here. Like, you do you, man.
No, it's to be fair, he never ran a lot in the first movie either. He was a hacker in the first movie as well, but it's also like he's just done less physical stuff per film.
Honestly, they could have had him in the live action as like even if he needed to be in a wheelchair as like a social worker / retired CIA. I'd fucking believe it.
Look, he does as much. The Bubbles in this movie does as much walking as Vin does in any Mission Impossible film.
Yeah,
so he's fine. You could have just brought Ving Rhames back, easy.
Yeah.
But whatever, right? Is it?
It's not whatever, but okay.
The one good thing I want to say, the Cobra Bubbles became infinitely more interesting at the end of this movie when I was like, is he dating Tutu?
Yeah, well, like, hold on, what's going on?
Honestly, I thought he was making eyes at the Federation Queen.
He was making eyes at the Federation Queen.
I don't know. Maybe that's my personal bias because I was making eyes at her. I was like, "Is there something happening here?"
I think they were. I mean, they were trying to, I think, capture the energy of the original, where it's like, "Do I know you from somewhere?" Like that's a line. That's a pickup line.
Yeah.
If I've ever heard one.
Right.
Sure.
But it's in the new one they don't have that moment, so they just still kept the locking eyes.
I think it's maybe because they were in Mission Impossible or something. As a shout out to that.
Oh. I was like, I think he's dating Toot. Like he was like over at the house late at night, and he was like, I think there's something going on here. They could have had that through the whole movie.
You can get it. But also then that's weird. Then Lilo's like foster mom is Tutu and foster dad is Cobra Bubbles. And then David's her foster brother, who also is in love with Nani.
That'll get complicated later.
Okay.
The
I have a question
family's
for you.
broken, but it's good. Okay.
Okay. What's the question?
About the remake. So they go out of their way in the remake to kind of be like, yeah, Nani's like a really good surfer. It's something they like discuss in the original movie, like briefly, but they really emphasize it on like how Nani used to train and be an intense surfer.
Yeah.
The limited amount of surfing or like surfing culture in this film, and also the fact that she runs away to become a marine biologist when she loves surfing. I was like, does she even know she wants to be a marine biologist? Because there's nothing in like, okay, I want to believe that Nani wants to have her own dreams, right? But the way they wrote this film, I was like led to believe that like her big dream was to like professionally surf and teach surfing, and that was like her dream job. Because it talks about surfing and how good she used to be at it.
They don't they have like
nothing that like indicates she cares about marine biology?
I think they have multiple characters say, oh, you went to school for marine biology, or you started to go, or like you wanted to go to school for marine biology, which does read as like she doesn't want to do that anymore. Like it is such a weird.
And then, no one gets it right either. They're always like, "Oh, you want to be a marine." To be like, it's like a constant joke. It's like you want to be a marine, you want to be this, and it's like, does she? And there's like no indication that she cares greatly for wildlife in the ocean.
I think that's kind of. I think this is where like too many things. They
overcomplicated it.
Yeah, overcomplicated it because it's like there are too many things happening with like various drafts. You can feel it. It's like, okay, Nani wants to be, maybe Nani wants to be a college student and go to and learn this and that. But then also, but like, wouldn't it be, maybe we can emphasize her surfing and she's actually super passionate about these. All feels like really good story note ideas in early script writing process to kind of flesh out her character. And I actually completely understand the need to flesh out Nani as a character. Not saying she was underwritten in the original film. She definitely served her purpose exactly how she needed to. But I understand that this is where a remake is good to a certain degree. It's like, hey, let's take that character and add. And if we can add, we can enhance. And so we were talking about one of the strengths of the new film is Nani feels like a legitimate 18 to 19-year-old who's a little bit out of their depth. And there's no problem with saying she's really good at this or she's really good at that. The problem is they're saying it at the same time, and those conflict with each other. And
honestly, if it was like Nani just wants to go have a college experience, I'd be like, fuck yes. Like if she just wants to go get hammered, go to parties, fail her first year classes, like I'd be into that. Like that's a relatable, understandable thing for some people.
Right. Especially someone who like.
But when it's like, no, she's got this dream to be a marine biologist, and it's like, okay, but there's zero indication in the movie that was ever once her dream, other than she like got a full ride.
If they kind of explained that, like, like she was forced to try to become an adult, and she just clearly wasn't ready for it, and Tutu's there to go, look, I will help. Be a kid. Be a college kid. That's what you need. You can do that. And I'll take care of Lilo. She'll be fine. Figure yourself out, because you don't know what that is yet. If that's something they could have emphasized instead of like this is very like movie writing. It's like, oh, she's so good at being a marine biologist, or she's such a smart, brilliant kid. It's like, no, she could have just also been like, no, like someone could have been very much like, look, you're doing a lot and you're great, and don't feel guilty that you just need to do this. This is what you need as a person. Be this. Yeah. That is fine. You can figure yourself out later. But if you're worried that you have to make your life entirely about Lilo, you're not alone, and you don't have to do that. Figure yourself out. Then you can be stronger for her. That's something that is emotional and would have made sense, as opposed to overemphasizing that she's really good at these things.
Would have been a perfect opportunity and role for Tutu to play, is like her being like, okay, it's time for you to stop playing mom. It's time for you to start being a sister again.
Yeah.
And Tutu's like, let me help. Let me do this for you. Instead of Tutu being like half helping the entire film.
Right.
It's like, and if I was the social worker, I'd be like, isn't that the lady who went and adopted a dog for you? Like, and then like sabotaged you this entire time, lost Lilo this other time. And like, I'd be like, is this the appropriate guardian for Lilo? I'd be questioning her more than Nani at this point. And it's like, and then there's also the aspect of like, well, then David's also in the house. Like, that's a red flag in the social work world.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did have that. The way that was solved was that Tutu and the social worker had talked about it off screen. Like they walked up and they were like, "Hey, we solved it." It was, it's like that is like another a sign of like kind of bad writing. We put you through all this stress
together, and it's like, Tutu, why didn't you think of this fucking beforehand, not in the middle of the alien fight? Like, where were you when Nani was going through the trauma of having to give up her sister at 8:00 this morning?
Right.
Anyway. But I will say, like, okay, like beautiful moments, like when Nani was singing the song.
Yeah.
And they were in the I forgot what it's called, the hammock. Thank you. Yeah, when they were in the hammock, and it's like this beautiful thing, and then there's this like moment where Lilo was like, remember when we camped out here? And Nani was like, we had termites. And I was like, that's such a kid moment where the kid like remembers the happiness, the good moment of like, we got to go camping. And Nani's like, the house was sequestered. We couldn't go inside for this, and this reason. And it's like all the joys of adulthood versus the joys of childhood. It's like the writing was so strong, and the little changes they did were so good in some places. And then they had like the Jamba storyline, the erasure of Cobra, and some like, and then like Nani being given up to the system as a foster kid. It's like, okay, guys, like you should have been more aware of the decisions you were making, because I think that's where like the point I think a lot of people are making online is that like the government essentially comes in and takes Lilo away from Nani, and that's like the happy ending. Instead of it being the like, well, like in the movie it was like, yeah, Lilo was going into foster system, it was scary, we didn't know where she goes, blah blah blah, like that's terrifying for anyone. But at the end of this movie we're like, oh, they put a band-aid on it because it's going to Tutu, like Lilo's going to Tutu next door, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I think
it's like they try to soften that blow a little bit.
Which I kind of agree.
I don't know if that works.
I agree. That's kind of one of my problems with the ending. It does feel like a band-aid.
The other problem with the ending I have is the whole they have this whole new sequence of they crash the ship.
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch are in a spaceship that crashes in the water. Lilo is trapped under the water, so Stitch jumps in to rescue her, knowing that he can't swim.
Oh, yeah.
And so he gets stuck at the bottom, and then Nani comes down, and they save Lilo, and she's going to leave Stitch, but then she goes down to save Stitch, but she can't lift him.
Yeah.
It's like part of his genetic makeup that water makes him heavy.
It's like they took that one line from the original film in the beginning. It was there, like, and like decided, oh, what if we? And here's the thing: I don't think this is a bad idea. I can see them looking at the movie, went, where can we create that was established, and what can we add to change the ending, to add some, add something else and make it a different kind of emotional thing. So I can see them looking at that, going, what if we do that and pay that off in a way at the end? But
they double down on it in a way that is like overly like that schmaltzy, like oh, like. Stitch has to sacrifice himself. So we see him drown.
Yeah.
And then Nani...
went for the big hero effect. Big...
Yeah. And Nani Nani has to recognize that Lilo loves this thing.
Yeah.
And so she is going to try to save it, which is she's like walking at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
And then they get him out, and then it's the double. Now we're doubling down on Stitch's dead because now we have the lifeless body, and they start shocking it, and then they realize, oh, we have to shock it with a bigger battery.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was just then it becomes silly. Like it's not emotional anymore. It's silly. And I honestly at a certain
try CPR.
Yeah.
I
really thought
they didn't have to talk about the medical inaccuracy here, Andrew.
Well,
do you want to finish your bet first? Do you want to finish your bet first? Then I'll go on mine.
Part of my bit is I thought they were I thought she was going to pull him up and he was going to be like, oh, I could breathe underwater. Like, what? Because it does.
I was going to breathe underwater too.
Yeah, I thought he was just going to be like, okay. Because then it was like, if you just had to walk, why didn't he just start walking? Like, he was just acted like he was stuck there forever. And it's like, yeah, just walk out of the ocean. Like, what are you doing?
The bottom, bud. And then if it's a matter of holding your breath, well, it's like, oh, Nani had to do it.
Yeah.
Carrying you.
She somehow did it fine. He's like an enhanced alien. He should have been even better.
Yeah.
So please.
He's just a baby.
Please get into the medical inaccuracy.
Yeah. So first and foremost, shocking someone does not bring them back to life if they are dead. Let me emphasize this. If you have no heartbeat and you hook someone up to an AED to shock them, it will not work. Nothing will happen. But if your heart is in an irregular rhythm, irregular, not regular, a very specific rhythm where shock can cardiovert your heart back into a working rhythm, then yes, it will work. But in most cases, no cardiac output, also known as asystole, will not be recovered by a shock. The only thing that recovers in this instance is chest compressions, because that is increasing blood flow to the brain, preventing also brain death as well. So, chest compressions. Someone drowns. Someone you love drowns. Fucking do chest compressions. You don't even have to do mouth to mouth anymore. Just like do chest compressions to the beat of My Pink Pony Club and you'll be just fine. Do not, for the love of God, shock them, especially when they're all wet and nearby. And like they didn't even fucking clear the scene before they shocked him. They were like ready to shock and Lilo was still manhandling him, which was like also very unsafe code. And I'm going to assume that like David here has like lifeguard training or at least basic. They're surfers. They should. No one did this correctly. Disney, it is 2025. If you are going to watch someone get shocked back to life, at least do it fucking properly. And that's my rant.
All right.
CPR.
That's right.
Do it.
Fair. I'm never going to argue someone who's actually been trained in medical field about medical stuff in movies.
What it sounds like to me is that there are two big reasons why this scene is incredibly stupid. One is that it's horribly inaccurate. And two is that it's doubling down on something that we're not even going to believe as an audience anyway. Mm-hmm. They're not going to kill Stitch.
Not going to kill Stitch.
God,
no.
It's like every one of these kids' movies, they're like, oh, the main character died. Uh-oh. It's like, they're not dead. They're not even a little. There was no chance.
Doubled down on it. Yeah. If they had just been like, okay, Nani got him out of the water. They did a little bit of CPR. He coughed it up. Yeah. I would have been like, also wildly inaccurate. But you know what? Fucking fine. Like, let's just go with it. Yeah. Like, he can survive longer because he's an alien. Like, let's just go with that vibes.
Like, I actually didn't.
It's the playing into him being dead that was so dumb.
The scene of Nani carrying him underwater, I actually like visually. I think there's something to that. It's just,
it would have worked if she was like super into surfing.
But like
surfing was her dream. She wanted to be a pro surfer.
Yeah. But the added layer of overemphasizing he might be dead is the line that just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Like Andrew said, it's like you're not killing the fuzzy mascot. You're not doing it. You're not going to do it.
I call this the E.T. effect. Mm-hmm. It's every so many kids.
I've
kids
never
movies
seen E.T.
Now, spoiler, E.T. dies and they bring him back. Yeah. And it's like,
oh, okay. Did they also shock him?
No. How the hell did he come back? I haven't seen E.T. in so long.
It's been a while for me too.
Does he I think just love brings him back. It's just truly like
very magical. It's very sweet. Anyway.
But
I highly recommend E.T.
Every kids
I don't know,
movie
it
now.
Sounds exactly not like my favorite movie if you bring it back you with love.
I think that's something else than that, but just I do suggest watching it.
So many movies now just do this. It's like it's just a trope. It's like the thing that they're like, okay, what do we have to do? Oh yeah, let's have someone die and then come back to life. Like, who cares?
The amount of times like so many of these they try to pull that card because they want you to go, oh no, and the reality of us going, yeah, we know they're fine.
the movie's called E.T. He's not going to die. Like, that's just not the way that, even back then, it wouldn't have worked that way.
I think they're kind of doing what they kind of did in Big Hero 6, where they tried to do the Baymax approach, which worked on me when I saw Big Hero 6. Like, I believed it. And I think they got a lot of emotion, and it was like a really rough emotional movie. And they're like, we can copy that in Lilo and Stitch easy. Yeah. And I'm like, no, like, we're told from the start he's indestructible.
Yeah.
Like, no, like, a kid watching this movie, like, the whole gag is that you can't kill him. So there's never this belief that he can die, even with water around. It's like, it's having us believe that he can kill Superman. It's just not going to happen.
No, you have to find drama other ways.
It's very funny that your specific example is having us believe that they could kill Superman when that is exactly what they did like 3 movies ago or whatever. That was like the whole plot, and it was like
Batman v Superman ends with Superman dying,
and it's like. No,
I watch Superman movies to make fun of Superman movies. I hate them so much. I've never enjoyed.
That hurts me very much. I'm sorry.
I've never enjoyed a Superman film.
Which is no injury, probably.
And I loved Smallville.
I am so confused right now, but all right. But I won't point out, Andrew, that like even Superman Returns tries to do it too.
Yeah,
like it's like everyone thinks the only 2 stories of Superman is that he lands on Earth and then he dies. And it's like,
it's crazy.
Is Stitch Superman? Maybe. Look,
he did land on Earth.
And he was raised by kind
kind farmers? No. Wow, is Stitch Superman? I'm going to be thinking about that one for a long time.
I hope so.
Wow. He does put on a cape at one point.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
And uses Nani's bathing suit top as ears.
Ears?
The ear cover. It's to hide. It's where it's like a Batman effect he's trying or something.
Just to kind of go overall with my final like kind of wrap up thoughts on the film is that like I do feel like the strength of the film is still focused, and at the end of the day, that's pretty good. The strength of the film is focusing on Lilo, Stitch, and Nani. A lot of their scenes are still very good. A lot of the Stitch Lilo shenanigans are still fairly entertaining. Actually, I really like the bit where like they're in like the souped up like little car.
Oh yeah.
And Stitch is trying to find a big city. And he just stops by the edge, and Lilo, just to emphasize it, goes like, "Don't you love the island? There's like not a city in sight." And Stitch is like in massive pain in his brain. He's like, "No!" So that stuff is strong, and they do some really good work there. And at the end of the day, I guess for a movie called Lilo and Stitch, great. It's everything else. It's all the new additions. It's all the reworking. It's all the overthinking. Even some of the editing is a little weird. Like I've noticed, like there's some choppiness in some of the comedy, especially like
I was gonna say,
like the wedding sequence was a little off.
Yeah. Oh God, I so forgot about that because
it's weird. It's not good.
Very weird. I was like, oh, this is not a good way to start this.
Yeah.
And also, you notice the music was a little choppy as well. And I noticed the compositions weren't super strong or memorable. Like, even the scene where he's drowning, I'm like, guys, like, where's the music to build this emotion? Where's the music here? Where's the music there? And then they chose, like, pop music at, like, random times that didn't really fit. Yeah. And if anything, like, dates the film and makes it seem older.
Yeah. Yeah, these are the stuff that does... I totally agree. Like they feel more like these are the ones that feel like studio notes that feel like Disney going do that, and whatever works emotionally and like character wise. I feel like that's where Fletcher and the writer are at least successful coming through. Here's the thing, when we talked about like Pete's Dragon, Andrew, one of the things that I think you and me. Reason why we love that movie and the remake of that film is that Disney went, do what you want. Whatever, different library, you have full carte blanche. And
they said, put a dragon in it.
Put a dragon in it and make sure the kid's name is Pete and the dragon's name is Elliot. And that's all we care about. And he went off, and that movie felt like a David Lowery film. It felt like his movie completely. But then we went to go watch Peter Pan and Wendy, and that movie felt like him fighting Disney. Like any stuff that we thought that looked like his stuff was there, in contrast to whatever Disney wanted. And I feel like that's kind of what happened here, is that like the writers and director were trying their best. And when they succeeded, I think that's a part of the reason why the movie's going to do well, is that there's a emotional connection between the three characters that people are going to come back and see it again. Kids are going to have no problem with it, etc. But the stuff that I don't like, and clearly the rest of us don't like, are the stuff that like they're trying and forcing, and we just feel like, ugh, why are you overdoing this and doing that and underplaying this and using the wrong actor for that? Those are the things that I feel like that's like Disney telling them what to do, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say overall, like this movie was an 8 out of 10. Like it was, the core components of the original film are still there, and I still love them even in live action. They did a wonderful job with a lot of the casting. Again, I don't think anyone is cast wrong except for Jamba. Zach. Sorry, Zach. But otherwise, like everything else is so well done. It was just some of the minor changes, like not focusing on the tourists anymore. Yeah. And, you know, changing some of the dynamics and the support system, like weren't always necessarily better choices, which I think took away from a lot of the things we loved about the first. I don't think they did it with ill intentions. I think it kind of comes off as like they didn't think about it.
Yeah.
They're just not aware. Because they're idiots. They're like, we'll solve this perfect thing and we won't realize the impact it may have on other people who see this from the perspective of the government's taking families apart again.
Yeah. I think looking at the movie as a whole, the things that really annoyed us is when there was nothing new.
Please rate and review Nothing New, a Remake podcast on your podcast app.
You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nothing New Pod.
You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/nothingnnew.
Nothing New, a Remake podcast, is part of the Benview Network.